Chapter 61. It tastes like chicken. You're here, meow. Mr. Theo, you didn't forget about us, did you? No, meow. I was testing whether you guys would come find me or not, meow. Though Theo had completely forgotten about the hunters. Phew, I didn't show any signs of being flustered, meow. He believed he had perfectly hidden it with his acting skills. However, he did forget about us. We should have just stayed hidden. We should have just kept quiet. The hunters, who had come seeking Theo out of fear, were regretting their actions as they observed his awkward acting. So did you make any money? Hand it over, meow. Theo hurriedly brought up a different topic. Yes, here's 715 tower coins. The hunters proudly handed over all the money they had been diligently saving up to Theo. It had been a while since they had hunted so hard. However, it was just chump change, not enough to satisfy Theo, who had just made a significant amount of sales. What, meow? 715 tower coins. Have you been slacking off, meow? What do you mean? We've really been hunting hard. That's right, we really worked hard. Growl. As the wronged hunters raised their voices towards Theo, the wolves bared their teeth and growled. Eek. At the wolves' threatening behavior, the hunters shut their mouths. So you're incompetent, meow. Humans even less useful than Kyungi, meow. Theo berated the hunters. Who's Kyungi? The unknown Kyungi scored an unexpected win against the hunters. If you're like this next time, it won't be fun, meow. As Theo made a scary face and signaled to the wolves with his paw. Growl. The wolves once again released a strong killing intent. Eek, we understand, we'll earn more. With that, Theo, who had pushed the hunters, once again set off for the 99th floor of the tower. Once the attack of the branch scouts was almost settled, the Minotaur King quickly returned to the waypoint. After the Minotaur King had left and about 2 hours had passed, they were finally able to completely defeat the branch scouts. But why did they come here? They were puzzled by the sudden attack of the Ents, but no one knew the answer to that. The tower's administrator says that the corrupted Ents want to corrupt any uncorrupted trees around them. Aileen could only guess based on her knowledge of corrupted Ents. Trees. The only thing that could be called a tree around here was the cherry tomato trees or the corn trees. But the branch scouts had no interest in them. They were only interested in the cave. What is it? While Sejun was pondering the reason why the corrupted Ents attacked this place. Rumble. His body, which had been overworked since dawn, asked for fuel replenishment. Guys, let's eat. Sejun treated the mother crimson giant bear and the minotaurs, who had helped him, with food as a token of his gratitude. First, he gave finely chopped carrots to the wife rabbit who had just given birth, and to the mother crimson giant bear, he gave a basket made of green onion leaves filled with 200 squids and sweet potatoes. And he let the black minotaurs eat as much green onion leaves as they wanted. In addition, he cut the stems of harvested carrots and gave them as well. Due to the time limit, he also sent 3 heaps of green onion leaves and a bundle of cherry tomato branches to the Minotaur King, who had to return to the waypoint first. After preparing their meals, Sejun and the rabbits prepared their own food. However, should we just eat something simple since we're so tired? Squeak. Squeak. The rabbits strongly agreed with Sejun's suggestion. They were exhausted from preparing food for others. Crunch. The rabbits took out carrots from the storage, held one in their arms each, and ate them. Wung wung. And Sejun munched on dried sweet potatoes. While they were eating. Wujiak wujiak. After finishing off 200 squids and a bundle of sweet potatoes in just 2 bites, the mother crimson giant bear, who seemed to still be hungry, started to eat the dead branch scouts. Kyungi, does your mom usually eat trees like that? Sejun, who saw the mother crimson giant bear eating a tree for the first time, stroked Kyungi's head, who was busily licking honey, and asked, Kyuang. Mom is always hungry, so she eats trees while patrolling. Sejun had thought that the mother crimson giant bear ate monster meat while patrolling. He hadn't thought that she was eating tree monsters. Then, Sejun, we've returned. 6 wolves arrived, pulling 3 carts full of red locust corpses. Put 1 cart there, and the other 2 in front of the brick house. Yes. Upon receiving Sejun's instructions, the wolves left 1 cart in front of the mother crimson giant bear, and the other 2 in front of the brick house. Eat this. Sejun pointed at the red locusts and told the mother crimson giant bear. Kyung. Hearing Sejun's words, the mother crimson giant bear joyfully started to eat the red locusts. The meat of the red locusts was popular among carnivorous monsters like wolves and Kyungi. Sejun and the rabbits had tried it out of curiosity, but it was too tough for them. They felt like their teeth would break first. You have consumed red locust meat. There's a small amount of poison remaining in the red locust meat. You are poisoned by the E-grade neurotoxin. Detoxified. And there was also poison. If he hadn't eaten detoxifying green onion and just ate it because other animals were eating and were okay, he might have died. So Sejun was developing a red locust dish that he could also eat. He also had the intention to achieve an achievement and increase the level of his cooking skill. That's why he made red locust soup a few days ago. Put water and red locust meat in a large pot, season it with salt and pepper, and cover it with a lid. First, the lid was placed on top with bricks, and it was simply boiled for several hours under high pressure. Despite being a simple dish, achieving the achievement of being the first to cook red locust soup in the tower increased his cooking skill level to 3. And the result of the cooking was a half success. Eck. The texture is soft. The red locust meat became soft enough for the rabbits to eat. However, the meat from the red locust soup was still so tough that Sejun's teeth could not bite into it. Guys, cut the red locust meat very thinly for now. As Sejun asked the wolves to cut the red locust meat thinly. Sure. The wolves began to thinly slice the red locust with their sharp claws at intervals of 1. Because Sejun gave them the failed dish, the wolves willingly helped. Since the red locust meat was so tough, Sejun thought of making soup by finely chopping the red locust meat. This time, he also chopped detoxifying green onions and potatoes. In this way, he filled 3 large pots with ingredients, covered them with a lid, and began to boil. Then he placed several bricks to prevent the lid from moving. Now let's get to work. Sejun planned to boil the red locust meat for a few hours, so he started farming with the rabbits and wolves. He had the black Minotaurus pile the wooden bodies of the dead scout soldiers to the west. It was to use as fuel to create a flame wall in case the corrupted Ents Branch scout soldiers invaded again. While everyone was doing their own work, the red locust meat was thoroughly boiled. 52nd floor of the tower. Hahasa Dai Pig. Han Taejun, with his bulging muscles and only wearing pants, was having a battle with the boss of the 52nd floor of the tower, the burning wild boar. Oink! Bang! Sizzle! As the burning wild boar rolled its front legs, red flames spread around. No way! In the past, he got hit by those flames and was cursed by the flame, but now he ate the golden sweet potato, and his flame resistance has increased. Let's go! Han Taejun ran towards the fire. He then prepared to attack, exerting strength on all the muscles of his body. And then, magic missile! Along with Han Taejun's shout, 100 magic missiles flew towards the burning wild boar. His job was a magician. Puff puff! Oink oink! The sound of pig grunts could be heard when the burning wild boar was hit by 100 magic missiles. One more time, magic missile. It was unclear why he was flexing his muscles while using magic, but Han Taejun shot a magic missile at the burning wild boar again. You have defeated the 52nd floor boss, Burning Wild Boar. The flame curse of the burning wild boar is lifted. In this way, after defeating the boss of the 52nd floor with magic missiles and lifting the fire curse, Han Taejun descended to the 50th floor. He went there to hand over the remaining golden sweet potatoes to his first disciple, Cha Si-hyuk, who was struggling with fire monsters on the 50th floor. When he arrived at the 50th floor, meow! Theo, who had just arrived on the 50th floor through the merchant's route, discovered Han Taejun. More specifically, he found the golden sweet potato in Han Taejun's hand. "Old man, where did you get that golden sweet potato? Don't tell me you killed Dongsik and took it." Theo approached Han Taejun and asked. If that was the case, he thought of avenging Kim Dongsik. "No, I didn't." "Then where did you get it?" "I got it from Dongsik. Besides, thanks to you selling me the sun's sweet potato, I was freed from the fire curse. I owe you one, thank you." "Then repay your debt." "Sure, how?" "First, stamp this contract." Theo handed out a blank contract. "However, I can't do that." His opponent was the president of the Korean Awakened Association. He was not an easy opponent. As lunchtime approached, sniff, sniff. The rabbits, smelling something delicious, gathered near Sejun's brick house. Rustle. The wolves also waited in front of Sejun's brick house, wagging their tails. Slurp, slurp. The mother crimson giant bear, who had returned early from patrol, was also salivating at the delicious smell. "Let's see if it's well cooked." When Sejun removed the bricks and opened the pot lid, "You have achieved the feat of making combat rations, red locust soup, for the first time in the tower. The recipe for combat rations, red locust soup, is registered at Cooking LV 3. Your proficiency in Cooking LV 3 increases significantly." It seems that there was no one who had cooked with the red locust, as this time too, it was the first. Combat rations. As Sejun was about to examine his dish. Grumble, 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 bleh. Animals excited by the delicious smell drooled and looked at Sejun with heated eyes. It seemed necessary to calm down the excited animals first. "Guys, calm down, I'll give it to you." Sejun decided to check the dish later and first served the red locust soup to the animals. He gave a whole large pot to the mother crimson giant bear. While the animals were focused on eating, Sejun looked at the food remaining in the large pot. Combat rations, red locust soup. Thinly sliced red locust meat, detoxifying green onions, and power potatoes are added and boiled for a long time, so that all ingredients blend harmoniously and all effects increase. Right arrow, the detoxifying green onions neutralize the poison in the red locust meat, making it softer. Right arrow, due to the detoxifying effect of the green onions, the food doesn't spoil easily. Right arrow, the taste improves slightly. Right arrow, consumption increases strength by 5.1 for 30 minutes. Due to the effect of Cooking LV 2, your strength increases by 0.1. TL note. Here, the cooking level should be level 3, as it was mentioned earlier in the chapter that it was increased to level 3. However, in the raw version, it is mentioned as level 2. It seems like the author may have made a mistake. Right arrow, due to the effect of combat rations, you will feel full for 3 hours. Right arrow, cook, Tower Farmer Park, Sejun. Right arrow, expiration date, 30 days. Right arrow, grade, C+. It's softer. Sejun took a spoonful of red locust soup and put it in his mouth. Chew chew. The finely ground meat was tender even to Sejun's teeth. Then, what is this? Sejun was touched by the familiar taste and texture of the red locust meat. It tastes like chicken. Slurp. Sejun hastily finished a bowl of red locust soup. You have consumed the standard portion of combat rations, red locust soup. Strength increases by 5.1 for 30 minutes. You will feel full for 3 hours. The amount of red locust soup that triggers the options varies depending on who ate it. However, slurp. Sejun seemed uninterested in such matters and started to eat the red locust soup again. It was the taste of chicken that he had been craving for almost 8 months. On the 235th day of being stranded, Sejun found meat that tastes like chicken. Chapter 62. Stamp the contract, meow. Ho ho, how can you hand me a blank contract with such audacity? Old man, you said you'd repay your debt, meow, so you must stamp it, meow. Theo was definitely throwing a tantrum, but there was a strange persuasiveness to it. Then let's do it this way. As the standoff dragged on, Han Tae-jun made a new proposal. What, meow? I will fulfill 3 of your requests. 3 requests, meow. Theo began to write on the contract what Han Tae-jun had said. Party B will fulfill 5 requests of the Party A. Party A, Theo. Party B, Han Tae-jun. Now stamp it, meow. Theo wrote a number looking somewhat like 3, but it was actually 5. However, ho ho ho, this won't do. His opponent was the president of the Korean Awakened Association, who signs dozens of documents every day. Changing 3 to 5 was too shallow a trick to fool him, even if he wanted to be fooled. Han Tae-jun amended the content of the contract that Theo wrote. Party B will fulfill 3 requests of the Party A. A can't ask Party B anything excessive. B can refuse Party A's request 3 times. All right, meow. Theo decided to finish the contract as he had to quickly ascend to the 99th floor of the tower. The contract with Han Tae-jun wasn't part of his original plan, so even if he conceded a bit, it wasn't a loss. Squishy. Theo stamped his paw print on the contract and handed it to Han Tae-jun. Ho ho ho. Han Tae-jun, who took the contract, chuckled. Theo had changed the 3 back to 5. What a cheeky cat. But he wasn't upset at all. Watching Theo made him feel amused. Han Tae-jun, gradually being charmed by Theo, was unexpectedly weak to cute things. It's also fate, isn't it? Squishy. Han Tae-jun stamped the contract without correcting it. All right, meow, now grant my request, meow. Already? Yes, meow. What is it? There are incompetent humans who contracted with me on the 38th floor of the tower, meow. Make them competent like the old man, meow. Theo decided to leave 5 hunters from the 38th floor, who weren't earning much money, in Han Tae-jun's care. I'm indeed competent, all right. Han Tae-jun gladly agreed, feeling good about Theo's recognition. Here they are, meow. Theo handed over a contract with the names of the 5 hunters. Jang Rin. Han Tae-jun spotted a familiar name on the contract. It was a name he had heard during his work as the president of the Awakened Association. Could it be the Black Wolf Gang with these 5? The Black Wolf Gang, led by Jang Rin, was a bandit group that stole money from hunters, and they were being closely watched due to lack of evidence. What about these guys? They are repaying their debt to me for trying to kill me, meow. All right, leave them to me. I will make them competent. Got it, see you later, meow. Theo bid Han Tae-jun goodbye and hurriedly ascended to the 99th floor of the tower. And as soon as Theo left, Han Tae-jun went to find his first disciple. Sejun, let's go to the 38th floor. What? Ho ho ho, there are guys who need to be led onto the right path. That's how the fate of the Black Wolf Gang was decided. And I'm full. Sejun made a satisfied expression after eating the red locust soup. It was the same for the other animals. Grew. Especially the mother crimson giant bear, satisfied with the feeling of a full stomach after a long time, went on patrol to aid digestion and... We will head down now. The silver wolves transferred the leftover red locust soup and sturdy blade onion leaves into a small pot, loaded it on a cart, and descended the tower. Shall we start with the dishes first? SHH. Sejun began to clean the large pot with a green onion leaf. This was to make a new soup for Aileen. After the animals ate 1 or 2 more bowls, there was not much soup left. Aileen might get upset if she sees this. When Sejun was worried, a new recipe for Aileen popped up in his head. So he gave the remaining soup to the wolves and started making a new soup. Fortunately, there was plenty of red locust meat that the wolves had prepared, so all he had to do was put the ingredients in and boil them. It's time for coffee now. As Sejun made a new batch of red locust soup, he brewed coffee to have during his break and went outside. Yon, Kueng, the black rabbit and Kyungi approached Sejun to take a nap. And then, Yon, Kueng, they claimed Sejun's lap and back and began to nap. Create thundercloud. Sejun placed his head on the soft belly of Kyungi and created shade with the thundercloud. These days, his proficiency didn't increase just by moving the thundercloud, so he was trying something else. Sejun thought of tearing off a part of the thundercloud and creating a new thundercloud above Kyungi's head. Fluffy, black smoke from the main thundercloud made a new thundercloud and then scattered and combined with the main body. As expected, it doesn't work well. While Sejun was trying to separate the cloud, your proficiency in Create Thundercloud has increased slightly. His skill proficiency was rising little by little. Even though the separation of the thundercloud failed, he didn't feel tired because of the increasing proficiency. Then, the tower's administrator says they want to try the soup made from red locust. The tower's administrator asks where their soup is. The tower's administrator hastily wipes the saliva from their mouth. As Sejun expected, Aileen started looking for the red locust soup. Well, I'm still boiling it. The tower's administrator says it's unfair because they woke up the mother bear and Minotaur King to help. The tower's administrator is upset, asking how you could do this to them. The tower's administrator is upset, feeling left out. It's not like that, Aileen, I've been making soup just for you. Lately, Aileen often stopped responding. Sejun played with the thundercloud during his break time and started his afternoon work. There wasn't much for the afternoon tasks. Harvesting cherry tomatoes, cutting green onion leaves and planting green onions. But as the field had expanded, this alone took up the entire afternoon. While Sejun was working, the soup was completed. Shall we take a look? As Sejun opened the lid, you have achieved the achievement of making the first combat ration, red locust cherry tomato soup in the tower. The recipe for combat ration, red locust cherry tomato soup, is registered in Cooking LV 3. Your proficiency in Cooking LV 3 increases significantly. As expected, Sejun smiled after checking the options of the dish. When he put cherry tomatoes in place of potatoes for Aileen, who prefers magical cherry tomatoes, as expected, the magic power increased instead of strength. Aileen, take your soup. Sejun called out to Aileen. Top Farmer Park Sejun says that's not the case. Tower Farmer Park Sejun says he is making a soup just for Aileen. At Sejun's sudden confession, Aileen was startled and let go of her crystal orb. And then, a soup just for me. She began to mull over Sejun's words. Kaha, what's this tilde, this interesting human tilde? Kaha, there's nothing you can't say. Kaha. Because of her uncontrollable laughter, Aileen couldn't talk to Sejun for a while. Once Aileen had calmed herself down, Tower Farmer Park Sejun tells Aileen to take her soup. The interesting human has completed my soup. Thud. Aileen hurriedly brought out her gigantic bowl and gave Sejun a quest. The bowl was almost the size of a kiddie pool. Moments later, Aileen's bowl was filled with red soup. Sejun gave all the soup contained in 3 large pots to Aileen for her proper serving. Well, the scent of cherry tomatoes coming through her nose stimulated Aileen's appetite. Slurp. Aileen picked up her bowl and started drinking the soup. Gulp, gulp. Kyuha, it's delicious but hot. However, Kehe, a hot human indeed. Thinking that the heat of the soup was a reflection of Sejun's feelings for her, Aileen felt even better. When Aileen, who drank the soup in one shot, put down her bowl, you have consumed the standard serving of combat ration, red locust cherry tomato soup. Magic increases by 7.1 for 30 minutes. You will feel full for 3 hours. Her magic power had increased significantly. This interesting human, as Aileen was moved by Sejun's cooking. Thump thud thump thud. The dragon heart started beating stronger and faster than before. Thump thump. Her heart was beating as well, but Aileen, who was focused on the beat of dragon heart, thought it was also part of the dragon heart's beat. I should give a reward to this interesting human. Aileen, feeling good, decided to give a new reward to Sejun. With the accumulated power she had and Sejun's contribution, she thought she could give a decent reward. Of course, Sejun's contribution was overwhelmingly larger. Huh? Squeaka. The black rabbit and Kyungi protested to Sejun, looking at the empty pot. What about our soup? As the smell of the soup spread all around, the black rabbit and Kyungi were greatly disappointed when grilled fish and steamed potatoes were served for dinner, as they had expected soup. I'll make it for you tomorrow. Huh? Squeaka. While Sejun was promising with his pinky finger to appease the black rabbit and Kyungi. A quest has been generated. Quest, serve Aileen with roasted sweet potato. Reward, 1 talent awakened. If refused, humph. If you refuse, you'll be the only one at a loss. No. Sejun was about to get angry at Aileen, who asked for roasted sweet potato while he was in trouble because of the soup. Huh? Sejun rubbed his eyes and checked the reward for the quest. 1 talent awakened. Here you go, Aileen. Sejun's attitude changed in an instant. It's very difficult to awaken a talent, and they're offering talent awakening as a reward. Sejun offered an entire basket full of roasted sweet potatoes. And then, you have completed the quest. As a reward for completing the quest, 1 talent will be awakened. Talent Landlord. Landlord. Sejun looked at the newly awakened talent. Talent Landlord. Right arrow, it is a talent that can only be possessed by farmers who own large farms. Right arrow, you can designate up to 30 tenant farmers. Right arrow tenant farmers can use the landlord's job skills. If the tenant farmer uses the landlord's skill, the landlord receives a 1% reward. Right arrow, the talent grows as the size of the farm grows. 1% reward. The explanation was vague. When in doubt, just try it out. Sejun designated the black rabbit and Kyungi as tenant farmers. You have designated 2 tenant farmers. Black rabbit, Kyungi, go pick some cherry tomatoes. Huh? Squeaka. At Sejun's command, the black rabbit and Kyungi ran to pick the cherry tomatoes. And shortly after, a tenant farmer used Harvest LV4 to harvest 5 cherry tomatoes. The landlord receives 1% of the reward. The landlord's job experience increases slightly. The landlord's proficiency in Harvest LV4 increases slightly. The landlord's experience increases by 1.5. Messages began to appear as the black rabbit and Kyungi harvested cherry tomatoes. From the message, Sejun was able to understand what the 1% reward was. It's 1% of what I would get if I used the skill myself. This means that even when he can't harvest directly because the field is too large, he can still gain a little job experience and such through the reward. It wouldn't be much help now, but it would be a great talent once the land expands. It said the talent grows as the farm grows, didn't it? It's a numbers game. Sejun diligently sowed cherry tomato seeds until bedtime. But the next morning at dawn, thump thump, the small branch scouts came around from the east, trampling on the cherry tomato field where Sejun had sown seeds, and attacked again. Chapter 63. These bastards. Sejun was furious at the small branch scouts, who were destroying the cherry tomato field he had worked on for hours. Aileen, call Mother Crimson Giant Bear. Based on the results of their previous encounter, he thought the Mother Crimson Giant Bear alone would be enough. The tower's administrator says to wait a bit. Thank you. So through Aileen, Sejun, who had requested support, stepped forward to confront the enemies. Go, Black Rabbit. Squeaka. At Sejun's shout, the black rabbit ran forward with a battle cry. And swoosh, swoosh. Sejun threw a torch towards the enemies, as the torch flying in a circle hit the body of the small branch scout. Whoosh! It caught fire easily. Swoosh, swoosh. Whoosh! As Sejun continued throwing torches, the small branch scouts fell, and a natural wall of flame was formed. The torches, which the gray rabbits had made as many as 300 throughout the day, were enough. The black rabbit went straight into the midst of the enemies, and was single-handedly slaying them with a hammer. Squeak! Bang, bang, bang! Just when Sejun and the black rabbit were successfully blocking the small branch scouts. Thud, thud! The large branch scouts appeared, crossing over the wall of fire. Black rabbit aimed for their legs. Squeak! The black rabbit moved quickly, targeting only the legs of the large branch scouts. Bang! Groan! The large branch scouts, with one leg broken, lost balance and fell, blocking the way for the small branch scouts and serving as a natural roadblock. Good! While the black rabbit tied up the legs of the large branch scouts, Sejun finished off the small branch scouts by setting them on fire with torches. You have defeated a small branch scout of the corrupted end. You have gained 25 experience points. Then, after about 30 minutes, roar! The mighty roar of the mother crimson giant bear was heard. Roar! Kyungi also roared mightily, growing bigger, as it followed its mother. Thud, thud! Thud, thud! The branch scouts began to retreat upon hearing the roar of the mother crimson giant bear. However, they were too slow to escape from the mother crimson giant bear. Thump, thump! Roar! With one charge of the mother crimson giant bear, the branch scouts, regardless of their size, were crushed. And then, roar, roar! Kyungi detached the limbs of a branch scout, who was lucky enough to survive near the place where the mother crimson giant bear had passed, and brought them to Sejun. So, thanks to the Kyungi's help, Sejun leveled up and became level 24. 38th floor of the tower. Kiek! Thud! A spider monster screeched and fell. Boss, how long do we have to do this? One of the hunters, moving the corpse of the spider monster, asked Jang Rin. Yeah, let's just run away. Idiot, as long as that cat has the contract, running away is pointless. We'll only get punished later. But still, let's wait for now and look for an opportunity. There must be a chance to escape. As Jang Rin was comforting his subordinates. Boss, there are two people coming this way. Two muscular men in trousers approached. One was a white-haired man in his late 60s, and the other appeared to be a black-haired man in his early 40s. The perfect number for a job. Upon seeing the white-haired man, Jang Rin immediately thought of the strongest hunter in Korea, but he heard that hunter had retired due to a curse related to fire attribute. Get ready. Yes. Jang Rin and his men hurriedly hid the spider's corpse behind a wall and put on their masks, then waited for the hunters to come closer. However, magic missile. The white-haired man amongst the two had detected them and used a skill first. Damn, we've been discovered. Retreat. Jang Rin quickly shouted when he sensed that the opponents were not ordinary, but it was too late. The hunter who had been with the white-haired man had already blocked their escape. We're cornered. While Jang Rin and his men were panicking. Boom, boom. The magic missile hit their bodies. Is this a magic missile? With that thought, the members of Black Wolf Gang all fainted. Like Representative Theo said, they are really incompetent. Looking at the unconscious Black Wolf Gang, Han Tae-jun began to draft a training plan to improve their skills. Administrator area of the tower. MMM. Aileen was deep in thought, frowning heavily. What should I name it? Aileen was pondering the new name for the red locust tomato soup that Sejun had made for her. I don't like the idea of having the ominous name of red locust in a dish that the special human made for me. While thinking about the new name for the soup, Aileen He he he. I should combine the name of the human, Park Sejun, and my great name, Aileen Pratani, the Black Dragon. He he he. I've decided CP soup. The name of the dish containing red locust will be forcibly changed to CP soup by the authority of the tower's administrator. Aileen used the authority of the tower's administrator to forcibly change the name of the dish. Of course, the price was a tiny bit of Aileen's magic and Sejun's significant contribution. By the authority of the tower's administrator, the name of the recipe for combat ration, red locust soup, is changed to CP soup. By the authority of the tower's administrator, the name of the recipe for combat ration, red locust cherry tomato soup, is changed to CP's cherry tomato soup. CP. As Sejun was reading the message, the tower's administrator says she combined C from Sejun and P from Pratani. The tower's administrator particularly highlights that she graciously conceded the front part of the name. The tower's administrator says that you should be honored that your name comes before the name of the great black dragon. All right, thank you. Snip. As for Sejun, it didn't matter what the name of the dish was, so he casually answered and harvested tomatoes while cutting the cherry tomato branches. The tower's administrator says if you're grateful, give her magical cherry tomatoes. Got it, give me a quest. When Sejun gave Aileen the cherry tomatoes and focused on harvesting again. Snip. You simultaneously harvested 9 well-ripened magical cherry tomatoes. Due to the effect of harvesting LV4, you have harvested 1 crop of 1 grade higher. Your job experience increases greatly. Your proficiency of harvesting LV4 increases greatly. Due to the effect of proficiency increase LV1, your proficiency in harvesting LV4 increases an additional 5%. You gain 290 experience points. Well, the current grade of the harvested cherry tomatoes was C grade, but a grade increase meant that he had harvested a B grade magical cherry tomato. Sejun, excited by the message, quickly checked the cherry tomatoes on the branch. They were indistinguishable from the outside, so he had to check them one by one. This is the B grade. Sejun found the B grade magical cherry tomato and looked at its options. Magical cherry tomato. Right arrow, a cherry tomato grown inside the tower. It is delicious as it has consumed enough nutrients. Right arrow, a farmer who is familiar with farming has grown it, improving its taste and efficiency. Right arrow, when consumed, it breaks down 40 g of body fat and increases magic by 1 for 10 minutes. Right arrow, the effect stacks up to 10 times within an hour. When consumed by a non-awakened person, it breaks down 40 g of body fat and revitalizes the body. Right arrow, the effect is applied even if there is not enough fat to decompose. Right arrow cultivator, Tower Farmer Park Sejun. Right arrow expiration date, 120 days. Right arrow grade, B. Breaking down 40 g of body fat and increasing magic power by 1. As the grade increased, the efficiency improved. If you eat 10 B-grade magic cherry tomatoes, your magic power increases by 10. Now, it was a number that couldn't be ignored. In addition, content was added that the effect is applied even if there is no fat. Shall we see how it tastes? Sejun hurriedly put the B-grade magic cherry tomato in his mouth. Since he only had one, it would be trouble if he was caught. Crunch. Slurp. The firm but thin skin burst, and the sour and sweet juice moistened Sejun's mouth. It's delicious. After eating the cherry tomato that had become even more flavorful, Sejun enjoyed the aftertaste with a satisfied expression when Squeak. Kwung. The black rabbit and the Kyungi, who had been hunting in the pond, approached Sejun. Did they notice? Sejun was nervous that he might have been caught eating the B-grade cherry tomato by himself, and continued to harvest the cherry tomatoes as if nothing happened. Squeak. Kwung. Fortunately, the two of them had come to get permission to eat snacks. Well, then you can eat. As Sejun gave his approval, the black rabbit started to eat a carrot from the storage, and Kyungi came to Sejun with a glass bottle filled with honey. Clink, glug. Sejun poured 1 dollop of honey to the Kyungi and was about to stop when, tug. Kyungi held Sejun's hand with its paw. Kwung kwung. Give me more honey. Otherwise, I'll tell Big Brother you ate a cherry tomato by yourself. Secrets are meant to be taken to the grave, right? Nod. Kyungi nodded. Glug. Kyungi obtained an extra dollop of honey in exchange for keeping the secret. 67th floor of the tower. Oh, you're here. The boss of the 67th floor of the tower, lizardman warrior Temuro, who had been waiting for the sturdy blade onion leaves, greeted the wolves led by Malkai. Temuro, here they are. Thanks, here's 1250 tower coins for 500 sturdy blade onion leaves. Yes, thank you, we'll be off then. As the wolves were about to leave with the cart and head to where their tribe was. Wait, what is that? Temuro asked, seeing the pot that hadn't been taken off the cart, a delicious aroma emanating from it. It's a soup made from red locust meat. Would you like a bowl? The soup was meant for his tribe, but the desire in Temuro's eyes was too intense to ignore. I guess I'll have one bowl then. Temuro replied, licking his lips as if he had been waiting for Malkai's offer. Here you go. Malkai filled a bowl with soup and handed it to Temuro. Slurp. Temuro's eyes widened after tasting the soup. Then, gulp gulp. He downed the soup in one go. You have consumed the standard portion of combat rations, CP soup. Your strength will increase by 7.1 for 30 minutes. You will feel full for 3 hours. Temuro was again surprised by the effects of the food. Is this really made from red locust meat? Yes. Malkai, give us all your red locust meat. I want our lizardmen warriors to eat this too. We'll pay well for the soup. That's how Sejun's money-making methods increased. 75th floor of the tower. Buy quickly and go up, meow. Upon arriving at the shopping area, Theo quickly started buying the items that Sejun had ordered. Then, on his way to the blacksmith shop to draw equipment. Representative Theo, let's go together. No, meow. You guys come slowly to the blacksmith shop, meow. When the large wolves were slow to move due to bumping into other merchants, Theo decided to go ahead alone. My lap. He was in a hurry. Just as Theo was almost at the blacksmith. Who's this? Look over here, guys. One cat spotted Theo and recognized him. Oh, isn't that Theo, who fled at night from Grainier village? He said he was going to be a wandering merchant, and he really did it, huh? Upon hearing the call of the delinquent cat, his companions approached. Then, it's been a while, Theo. A fat black cat stepped forward and spoke. It was Oren, the son of the wealthiest family in Grainier village, who had humiliated Theo greatly. It's been a while, meow. Theo responded with a smirk. Chapter 64, Exchanging Greetings. TL Hanguk. As the standoff with the red locust on the 67th floor of the tower dragged on, other creatures in different floors of the tower began to sense the crisis. Each floor, reminded of the terrible famine that happened 100 years ago, rushed to buy food in preparation for a potential crisis, which led to a surge in food prices. Consequently, the merchants visiting Grainier village also sold food at a higher price, but Israel, the richest man in the Grainier village, thought the merchants were deceiving him and colluding to raise the price of food. So Israel gave his son 1,000 tower coins to buy food. Oren, become a wandering merchant and buy food directly. You'll gain some worldly experience too. Yes, father. Thus, Oren, who left Grainier village to see the world, headed towards the shopping district with 9 subordinates following him with excited hearts. But the world wasn't a bed of roses, unlike in Grainier village, where they strutted around with confidence. After a lot of hardships, Oren and his followers finally reached the merchant district and went to the Wandering Merchant Association to buy a wandering merchant's license and equipment. Oren, wanting to impress his subordinates, gave them each 5 tower coins. Now that they had become wandering merchants, they were gathering information about food prices and drinking in a tavern when a goblin wandering merchant approached them. "Hello, I'm a wandering merchant named Scaram. Are you looking to buy food?" "Yes, I have a good item. How about making some money with this before you purchase the food?" "A good item?" "Yes, it's from outside the tower." "From outside the tower?" As Scaram spoke, he showed the cats items from Earth. "Oh, what's this?" "That is." All the cats except Orin were fascinated by the unfamiliar-looking items, but Orin seemed uninterested. "If you take this to the upper floor, you can sell it at a very high price. The beings living on upper floors collect these items as a hobby." "Really?" "Yes, you're from Grainier Village, right? A wandering merchant named Theo once did business with me and made a lot of money." "Theo?" Upon hearing that Theo made a lot of money, Orin's ears perked up. "If that idiot Theo can make a lot of money, I should be able to make several times more." With this confidence, Orin began trading with Scaram. "How many of the item do you have?" "I don't have many because they're valuable." "Give me all of them." "It's 5 tower coins each." "That's too expensive." Orin haggled with the goblin wandering merchant and bought Scaram's items with his followers. Scaram, who said he didn't have many items, had just the right amount for them to afford. "Well, I hope you make a lot of money." In this way, Orin and his followers were swindled out of almost all their assets by Scaram. "Let's finish this drink and head out immediately." "Yes, Sir Orin." Unaware that they had been swindled, Orin and his followers finished their drinks in good spirits and stepped outside. And that's when they spotted Theo rushing towards the blacksmiths. "It's been a while, meow." "This guy." As Theo, who had never properly looked at his face, looked at him with confidence and smiled, Orin's face hardened. "HMPH, made some money, have you?" His intention to merely greet him changed. Orin, who had spent all his fortune on Scaram's goods and had no money even for food, thought he had caught Theo at a good time. "Theo, we're hungry. Could you lend us some money?" When Orin spoke to Theo, acting like a bully, putting his arm around Theo's shoulder. You don't even have money to buy food, meow." Theo looked at Orin as if he felt sorry for him. "Shut up, we're about to make a fortune." Orin shouted at Theo, who seemed to be ignoring him. "Yeah, we bought items from outside the tower." "You must know since you made money that way too, right?" The other cats chimed in with Orin's words. "Items from outside the tower, meow. Don't tell me you bought things from Scaram, meow." Yeah, you know it well." Upon seeing Theo's stiff expression, Orin spoke in an arrogant manner. He thought Theo was underestimating them. "Then you're heading to the 99th floor of the tower, meow." "Yes, we're going to the 99th floor to trade with Minotaur King." Knowing that there had been recent attempts of tracking him, Scaram planned to cleanly eliminate Orin and his followers and get rid of any traces. "We're a little hungry to go to the 99th floor, so lend us some money. We'll pay you back later." Orin spoke in a low voice, putting strength into his front paw wrapped around Theo's neck. "No way, meow. I won't lend you any money, meow. You haven't even paid back the 21.34 tower coins you borrowed from me, meow. Pay me back that money first, meow." Theo, who had precisely remembered the money that Orin and his followers had borrowed bit by bit until now, yelled. "Damn it!" Just as Orin, angered by Theo's defiance, was about to hit Theo with his chubby front paw. Growl. 3 silver wolves approached. Wolves, don't get me wrong, he's a friend of ours. We were just greeting him a bit passionately because we haven't seen him in a while. Right, Theo?" Orin urgently pressured Theo for a response. "However, Representative Theo, is that cat really your friend?" Elka ignored Orin's words and asked Theo. Representative Theo, upon hearing Elka's words, began to shudder, as the only cat here who could be called Representative Theo was Theo. "He's not a friend, meow. I don't have friends like him, meow. Take care of him, meow. Theo moved towards the blacksmith shop, shaking off Oren's arm around his shoulder and gesturing a hit on the neck with his paw. With that, their fate was sealed. Grrr. San, save us. Elka and the wolves surrounded Oren and his followers, and soon screams began to be heard. Meow, meow, meow. Listening to the screams of Oren and his followers, Theo hummed a little song. He was no longer afraid of Oren, who used to bully him in Grainier Village. PFFFT. As expected, I'm invincible when I'm with Park Sejun, meow. The closer he got to Sejun, the stronger he became, to the point of scaring himself. PFFFT. Isn't it problematic if I become too strong, meow? While lost in such pointless fantasies, Theo entered the blacksmith shop. Discount, please. Without forgetting Sejun's teachings, Theo faithfully requested a 3-time discount, reducing the cost to 12 tower coins and moved to the lottery corner. And then, meow, this is it, meow. As soon as he arrived at the lottery corner, he chose an item that attracted his attention and exited the blacksmith's shop. Representative Theo, we have taken care of it. Elka, who was waiting outside the blacksmith's shop, spoke to Theo. Good job, meow. Let's quickly go up, meow. Theo chuckled menacingly and hurriedly climbed up to the 99th floor of the tower. He had to check if Sejun's lap was fine and also welcome the suckers. Several hours after Theo left. Love you. Oren and the other cats, who were beaten by the wolves and fainted, woke up. This bastard, Theo. Just you wait until I make some money. I'll hire a strong mercenary and beat you up. That's right. We won't let you off easy. Let's sell these things quickly and make some money. Oren and his followers vowed revenge on Theo and headed towards the 99th floor of the tower. They were oblivious to the fact that there were beings much more vicious than Theo there. 1 for competence, 2 for becoming human. 1. Competent. 2. Become human. Every time they rebelled, Black Wolf Gang fainted after being hit by Han Taejun's magic missile, and were now running with all their might in response to Cha Si-hyuk's commands. How long do we have to keep running? Neither Han Taejun nor Cha Si-hyuk mentioned when to stop running, and they couldn't afford to run slowly either. Key. Hearing their voices, dozens of spider monsters started to follow them. As they kept running and the count of spider monsters following them reached 100, finally Han Taejun spoke. Now we hunt monsters. What? Start fighting quickly. Han Taejun said this while casting 200 magic missiles around him. It was a threat that if they didn't do as told, they would die by his hand. Jesus. The Black Wolf Gang closed their eyes tight and charged towards the spider monsters. This was the only chance they had to survive. 238th day of being stranded, dawn. Thud thud. They came again today. Sejun spoke with a weary voice as he saw the approaching tree branch scouts. For the past 4 days, Sejun had been fighting tree branch scouts every morning. Go Black Rabbit Kyungi. Squeak. K-Kung. At Sejun's command, the Black Rabbit and Kyungi charged forward. And then, roar. In front of them, the Mother Crimson Giant Bear roared. After a long persuasion, Sejun managed to move the den of the Mother Crimson Giant Bear near his house in exchange for CP soup. Wolves brought CP soup order from the lizard men along with 20 large pots, so they were able to cook soup 24 hours a day, which wasn't a challenging task. On top of that, the tree branch scouts solved the fire problem by providing firewood. By setting up a base for the Mother Crimson Giant Bear near his house, Sejun was able to secure his farm safely. I guess I should go too. Sejun followed Kyungi and eliminated the well-groomed branch scouts. There weren't many tree branch scouts retreating early, perhaps because the Mother Crimson Giant Bear had appeared too early. After eliminating the remaining enemies, Sejun returned home and caught up on his sleep. And when he woke up, the tenant farmer used seed sowing LV 4 to plant cherry tomato seeds. The landlord receives 1% of the rewards. The landlord's job experience increases slightly. The landlord's proficiency in seed sowing LV4 increases slightly. You have created a 100 square meter cherry tomato field. You have gained 200 experience points. The white rabbits who had woken up earlier were planting cherry tomatoes in the field. They must have known that Sejun was guarding the farm in the morning and didn't wake him up. All right. Sejun got up from bed and went outside. He then went down into the cave and added a line to the wall and washed his face in the pond. And he looked around. Where on earth is the tree supposed to be? Despite his frustration, Sejun searched the cave several times, but he couldn't find the tree. Out of desperation, he sent the black rabbit outside the pond to look more closely, but there was no tree there either. Just as Sejun was about to go up to the ground with the things to eat for breakfast, the fire he had lit in the cave was out. These days, the rabbits had become negligent in maintaining the fire because they were eating on the ground. Still, there are the wife rabbit and the bobbies. The wife rabbit, who was taking care of the baby rabbits, could have put out the fire in a hurry. When Sejun cleared the ashes in the fireplace, a small green sprout appeared. Why is there a sprout here? Sejun carefully touched the sprout. Then, hello, master. The sprout greeted Sejun with a bright voice. What did you just speak? Surprised by the sound coming from the sprout, Sejun asked. Yes, master. The apple tree, which had been growing only underground due to the fire, finally greeted Sejun. TL note. Finally, an answer to everyone's question, where is the apple tree? Red apple. Chapter 65, Reconciliation. TL Hanguk. Floor 55 of the tower. Where the red ribbon, the rabbit kingdom, used to be, now a giant mansion has been built instead of the palace. And inside the room where the owner of the mansion stays, a giant wild boar was sitting in a room decorated with all kinds of expensive items. Have you still not found my straw hat? No, I'm sorry. We haven't heard from the silver wolf tribe we hired yet. A minion of the wild boar replied to the words of the landlord Grid. That's fine, you can take your time looking for it. Given that a strong seal magic was cast on St. Patrick's straw hat, the identity of the straw hat could not be detected by ordinary appraisal magic. There's something more important than that now. Are you stocking up on food well? Yes, there has been no food going out since receiving your command, Lord Grid. Hehe, finally, after 100 years, the opportunity has come again. After 100 years, the red locust has reappeared in the tower. Grid saw this as an opportunity to leap forward again, like when he gained the 55th floor of the tower 100 years ago. So he deliberately blocked the supply of food, raising food prices, and waited for chaos to erupt in the tower. To survive in the scorching heat, the apple seed sent its roots deeper and deeper down because it felt a cool energy from below. Following that cool energy, it sent roots all the way down to the 99th floor of the tower where the groundwater flowed. The apple tree, which absorbed enough water to withstand the heat, was waiting for the day it would receive the sunlight and sprout. Then one day, the apple tree, which had begun to absorb heat, gained consciousness. And then, Master Flamey is here. Flamey, the apple tree that absorbed the fire and awakened the flame attribute, called out enthusiastically to Sejun, who had planted it. But Sejun couldn't hear Flamey's cries. Flamey won't give up. Flamey continued to grow its roots without giving up, thinking about the day it would see the light, and soon the roots of the apple tree grew so large that the corrupted Ents would covet it. Currently, Flamey, the fire apple tree, is restraining its root growth to prevent damage to Sejun's crops. The sprout that Sejun is watching is just the tip of the iceberg of the huge fire apple tree. The seed of the apple that Sejun received from his colleague and ate on the second day of being stranded. He completely forgot about the apple seed he planted in the ground due to the rapid growth of the green onion leaves and other crops. Wow, it's light. Seeing the apple sprout expressing joy at the sight of light, Sejun felt a wave of guilt, especially since he had even committed the absurd act of lighting a fire over the seed. What have I done to this adorable sprout? Is there anything you need? Wanting to do something for the sprout, Sejun asked. No, the most important things for Flamey are you, Master, and the light, and now I have both. Ha, you. The sweet words from the sprout deeply touched Sejun. But is your name Flamey? Yes, my name is Flamey. I love it when you call me by my name. Flamey. It was a name that didn't suit an apple tree at all. Then, whoosh, a flame the size of a bean appeared at the split of Flamey's sprout. Huh, Flamey, you can control fire. Of course, I'm a fire apple tree. Flamey proudly said as it created more flames, moving them around as if it were playing. That's amazing. Haha, if there's anything you need, just let me know. Whoosh. With Sejun's praise, the excited Flamey's flame grew to the size of a fist for a moment, and then shrunk again. Then light a fire here. Sejun had collected green onion leaves and branches, and asked Flamey to light them. Yes, A small flame fell onto the firewood, accompanied by the confident cry of Flamey. Whoosh! The small flame quickly consumed the branches and green onion leaves, creating a large fire. You did well. Sejun asked various things to Flamey and spent time praising it. About an hour passed. Thump! Flamey grew by about 5 cm. Master, I've grown. Finally, Flamey began to grow upwards since it started receiving sunlight. That's right, our Flamey is getting stronger. Haha, thank you. Flamey will grow quickly to help Master. That's good. Sejun didn't know how Flamey would help, but he didn't want to dampen its spirited voice. Sejun spent his time talking to the apple tree sprout and guarding it until lunch. Then, we have a new friend on our farm. Its name is Flamey. While having lunch, he introduced the apple tree sprout to the animals, especially warning Kyungi not to eat it. On the 238th day of being stranded, an apple tree was added to Sejun's farm, or rather, discovered. The next dawn, thump thump. Once again, the tree branch scouts invaded Sejun's farm again. How dare you target our Flamey? Sejun was enraged when he found out why the corrupted Ents attacked this place. What were they going to do to this tiny little kid? Guys, drink up. At Sejun's shout, the crimson giant bear and the black rabbit quickly drank CP soup. Gulp gulp. Sejun also downed a bowl of CP soup. It wasn't hot because it had been cooled in advance. You have consumed the standard portion of combat rations, Cef soup. Strength increases by 7.1 for 30 minutes. You will stay full for 3 hours. Thus, with their strength increased by drinking CP soup, Sejun and the animals prepared for battle. Attack! Roar! Squeak! Roar! The animals charged and smashed the tree branch scouts, and Sejun also attacked the tree branch scouts with a torch and dagger. Sejun's attack, which had increased by 7.1 from CP soup, was now capable of dealing significant damage to the large tree branch scouts with limbs. Thud, thud, thud. Of course, the length of his weapon was short and the damage was low, so he had to attack multiple times. In that way, after defeating the branch scouts, Sejun went back to sleep. Then, thump, something climbed onto Sejun's stomach. What is it? I've returned, meow. Theo confidently answered. Did you just arrive? Yes, meow. I've made a lot of money this time too, meow. All right, let's talk in the morning. Understood, meow. As soon as Sejun closed his eyes, Theo checked if his knees were okay, climbed onto Sejun's stomach and closed his eyes. Snoring. Theo slept comfortably, feeling the security from Sejun's stomach moving up and down with each breath. All right. Sejun woke up in between morning and lunchtime. Where did he go? Theo was already up and not in the bedroom. Let's clean up first. As Sejun descended into the cave. If there's anything Flamey needs in the future, tell me, meow. Representative Theo will take care of it, meow. Theo was talking to the newcomer, Flamey. However, meow, I don't like fire, meow. Don't come near me, meow. Anyway, take care of me, meow. It seemed like the conversation wasn't going well, as Theo ran out of the cave, yelling, avoiding Flamey's fire. Fahata. Thanks to Theo who made him laugh in the morning, Sejun laughed heartily. He then followed his morning routine of marking the date, washing his face, and greeted Flamey, who had grown to Sejun's knee height. Good morning. Good morning to you too, master. Flamey responded in a bright voice. But why did you fight with Theo? Master, I'm sorry, but Theo keeps trying to give me grilled fish that I can't even eat. At Sejun's question, Flamey answered cautiously, thinking it might get scolded. I'm sorry. How could he offer grilled fish to a tree after following Sejun for so long? As Sejun pondered what to do about this clueless cat, he climbed up to the surface. Then, President Park. Theo, who had been waiting for Sejun to come up, ran over calling for him. And then, swoosh! He clung to Sejun's knee and began to rant about his grievances. Scold Flamey harshly, meow. He bullied me, meow. Thump! Sejun lifted Theo by his neck, who was clinging to his knee, and met his eyes. Why, meow? Did you give Flamey grilled fish? Yes, meow. I gave my favorite grilled fish to get along with Flamey, meow. Theo, who tried his best in his own way, answered with a, I don't know anything face. How is a tree supposed to eat grilled fish? Is that so, meow? President Park, you know so much, you're amazing, meow. Theo, who learned one more thing from Sejun's words, fluttered his tail and looked at Sejun with admiring eyes. Let's go apologize. Sejun, whose heart softened at Theo's look, stopped nagging, went down to the cave to make peace between Flamey and Theo. I'm sorry, meow. I won't give you grilled fish in the future, meow. After reconciling the two, Sejun received a report on the results of this trade from Theo. Pew hut, don't be surprised, meow. I made a huge amount of money from this trade, meow. Theo started to pull out the money from his bag on Sejun's lap with a proud expression. Rustle. Rustle. There was so much money that it had to be pulled out from the bag several times. It's a total of 224,600 tower coins, meow. 224,000. Sejun was surprised. He knew that detoxifying green onion were sold at high prices, but this was truly an astronomical sum. There had to be some additional effects that he was unaware of. Great job, Theo. Here's your incentive. Don't spend it recklessly, save it well. Sejun handed almost 10% of the sum, which was 20,000 tower coins, to Theo. I understand, meow. And here are the items I bought running errands and coffee and seasonings, meow. Theo began to dump the items from his bag. Then, what are these contracts? Sejun asked about the 2 contracts that came out of the bag. Those are. Theo started to talk about the contracts he made with 5 hunters who attacked him, requiring them to pay 10,000 tower coins, and one with Han Taejun. Han Taejun. Sejun was surprised at the name Han Taejun, the strongest hunter in Korea, a name that anyone interested in awakened beings in Korea would know. Great job, Theo, to get a contract that allows us to make 5 requests from Hunter Han Taejun. Great. From now on, you're President Theo for a month. Pew hut, really, meow. President Park, I want to eat churu. Theo, who was full of confidence from Sejun's compliment, replied. All right, if our President Theo wants to eat churu, we have to give it. Sejun tore open a churu and held it out to Theo. Lick, lick, lick. While Theo enthusiastically licked up the churu, he started to talk. And there are some bastards who need to be punished, meow. Theo explained about the Oran gang he met in the shopping district. What? They dared to harass our President Theo. That's right, meow. President Park showed them hell, meow. In Theo's view, there was no other being around as wicked as Sejun to exact his revenge. Got it. They're going to find the Minotaur King on the 99th floor of the tower. Leave it to me. Upon hearing Theo's words, Sejun had a good idea. 9 transporters carrying space bags are coming up. Oren and his followers were about to become targets of a wicked being. Somewhere in the merchant route, connecting from the 90th floor of the tower to the 99th floor. Why is it suddenly so cold? Maybe it's because we're hungry. Oren and the cats, who were heading towards the 99th floor in hopes of striking it rich, were shivering due to the sudden chill. Chapter 66. TL Hanguk. Chomp chomp chomp. Theo, after telling about Oren and his followers to Sejun, was spending a happy time, lying on Sejun's lap, relishing the churu that Sejun was feeding him. Meow. Suddenly, another opportunity to receive praise from Sejun popped into Theo's head. And then, rustle, rustle. President Park, take a look at this, meow. I picked this, meow. Theo, confidently shouting, took a hand axe out of his bag. A hand axe. It was a hand axe with a short handle and a blade the size of a palm. My front paws were strongly attracted to it, meow. Really? At Theo's words, Sejun hurriedly inspected the hand axe. Hand axe. Right arrow. Right arrow usage restriction, LV, 20, strength 15 or above. Right arrow creator, confidential. Right arrow grade, E. A quest has been generated. Quest, give the unappraised hand axe to the great black dragon, Aileen Pratani. Reward none. Refusal cannot appraise. An additional quest has been generated. Quest, serve CP's cherry tomato soup to the great black dragon, Aileen Pratani. Reward appraised hand axe. Refusal, unable to obtain the hand axe. Aileen was watching. She created a quest before Sejun could request an appraisal. Here, the hand axe disappeared from Sejun's hand. The tower's administrator uses an appraisal skill on the hand axe. The tower's administrator says it's a pretty decent item. A pretty decent item. With Aileen's high standards for items, Sejun's expectation for the hand axe item grew. The ring that Theo had brought before through the draw received a harsh assessment from Aileen, saying that the appraisal magic was a waste on it. Well, that was to be expected. The appraised ring was a D-grade item, with a cursed option that had a certain chance of stealing sight. He was going to give the ring to Aileen to destroy, but Iona wanted it. She wanted it as a research item for studying curse magic, so he sold it to her for a cheap price of 10 tower coins. The tower's administrator smacks her lips, asking for CP's cherry tomato soup. Okay, just a moment. Holding Theo in his arms, Sejun went to the kitchen to taste the soup to see if it was ready. Slurp. MMM. The long-simmered, tender red locust meat and cherry tomatoes blended well with Sejun's seasoning, enhancing the flavor of the soup. Here, take this. Along with Sejun's words, the soup, filled to the brim in 3 large pots, disappeared. You have completed the quest. You have acquired the appraised hand axe, Great Warrior Yuka's throwing hand axe, as a reward for completing the quest. Great Warrior Yuka. It was a named item. Sejun checked the hand axe's option with anticipation. Great Warrior Yuka's throwing hand axe. Right arrow. This is a throwing hand axe personally made and used by the dwarf Great Warrior Yuka. Right arrow. The well-balanced weight of the hand axe increases its destructive power, and it flies further when thrown. Right arrow. The blade has been finished with mithril powder, maintaining its sharpness for a long time. Right arrow usage restriction. LV 20 or above, strength 15 or above, magic 15 or above. Right arrow creator, blacksmith Yuka, Red Rock Dwarf Tribe. Right arrow grade, A. Right arrow skills, splitting cut LV, 1, retrieval LV, 3. Splitting cut LV, 1. Right arrow, you can split better with less force when using the hand axe. Retrieval LV, 3. Right arrow, you can teleport a thrown hand axe back to your hand once every 10 seconds within a 300 m radius. It was already uncomfortable fighting the branch scouts with Keynes's training dagger. With this, fighting the branch scouts will be easier. Sejun gripped the hand axe tightly. The grip felt just right, as if the weight was perfectly balanced as described in the item's details. Unlike the last time, Theo had pulled out a truly excellent item. You did well, Theo. Smooch. Sejun was so pleased that he pecked Theo's forehead. Meow. The two beings were shocked by Sejun's peck. Meow, what are you doing? Theo quickly groomed his forehead, where Sejun had pecked him with his paw, and the tower's administrator is upset that your lips are now impure. Aileen also became angry with Sejun, claiming that his lips were now impure. What's wrong with my lips? Sejun was hurt by their attitudes. That's when the cooldown of growth acceleration LV1 has ended. 30 days had passed since he used growth acceleration, so he could use the skill again. Great, let's use it on Flamey. And he went to find Flamey, who always welcomed him affectionately. Master, welcome. Flamey greeted Sejun with a cheery voice. Okay, growth acceleration. Sejun immediately used the skill on Flamey. You used growth acceleration LV1. The potential of the apple tree is tremendous. All of the growth acceleration of 10 crops will be used on the apple tree. All 10. Sejun was surprised and looked at Flamey, who was covered in bright light. Oh, master, I'm brimming with energy, yop. Flamey shouted with a yell. And then, poof! After absorbing all the growth acceleration of 10 crops, Flamey sprouted one more leaf on his body. Floor 67 of the tower. Attack! What? At the battle cry of the lizardmen great warrior Tamuro, the lizardmen and mercenaries rushed toward the red locusts. Twice a day, they stepped out of the defense area made of sturdy blade onion leaves to kill the red locusts. The reason was to gather the bodies of the red locusts killed by the sturdy blade onion leaves on a cart and replace the wilted sturdy blade onion leaves. Thud, thud. The red locusts, who were eating the bodies of their kin, flapped their wings and charged at them. Hurry up! Tamuro, who had cut 5 red locusts at once with his giant greatsword, yelled. Yes. The lizardmen transporters loaded the bodies of the red locusts onto the carts and pulled out the wilted sturdy blade onion leaves. And then, plunk! The wolves planted new sturdy blade onion leaves in the ground that they had brought. Thanks to Tamuro, the lizardmen who had CP's soup before departure could finish the job quickly due to their increased strength. Great warrior Tamuro, the work is done. Good, start moving the carts first and we'll retreat slowly. At Tamuro's instruction, the lizardmen made room for the carts to move and prepared to retreat slowly. Just then, great warrior Tamuro, 5 swarms of red locusts are approaching from the front. A lizardman scout who was scouting the area ran to report to Tamuro. What? Hurry and request support from the rear. The pattern of the red locusts, which always moved in a certain size, had changed. After making another leaf bloom on Flamey, Sejun had lunch and, could you send a message to Minotaur King for me? He asked Wuchen Sam 1003 to ask him to scare the cats who were soon to arrive but not harm them. Then Sejun started farming in the afternoon. Meow meow. Move aside. Sejun, who was cutting the green onion leaves, told Theo, who was rubbing his face around his mouth and blocking his view, to move. However, meow meow, give me a kiss meow. Theo, who had just realized that Sejun's earlier kiss was a sign of praise, was annoyingly rubbing his forehead against Sejun's mouth. That's enough. Sejun, who was already upset, placed Theo on his knee and started to cut the leaves again. Just then, you've obtained 1.1 ml of the honey from the cherry tomato flower. Your beekeeping LV3 proficiency increases slightly. The proficiency of beekeeping LV3 is filled and the level rises. The level of beekeeping skill increased. Then, buzz buzz. About 1,300 poisonous honeybees flew to Sejun. President Park, I'm sorry, meow. Theo, thinking Sejun had called the poisonous honeybees to scold him, quickly hid in Sejun's shirt. Hey, come out. No, I don't want to, meow. Sejun, who had managed to remove Theo, who was clinging to his back and refusing to get off, put him back on his knee and asked the poisonous honeybees. What's the matter? Buzz. When Sejun asked, one poisonous honeybee sat on the back of his hand. And then, Buzz, please instruct which flower to collect nectar form for making honey jelly. Honey jelly. Surprised by the sudden words of the poisonous honeybees, Sejun checked his beekeeping skill, which had just leveled up. Special job skill beekeeping LV 4. Able to keep bees when you own a beehive. Right arrow the activity area of the honey bees in the owned hive slightly increases. Right arrow the speed at which the queen bee lays eggs slightly increases. Right arrow the speed and amount of honey collected by the bees slightly increases. Right arrow the probability of pollination slightly increases. Right arrow you can produce honey jelly with special effects. Currently, honey jelly can only be made from the honey and pollen collected from a single type of flower. Currently owned beehives 3 poisonous honey bee hives. Could he make honey jelly with special effects? Sejun looked at the new description of the beekeeping skill and fell into thought. For now, Hive 1 and 2 make honey jelly from cherry tomato flowers. Since cherry tomatoes are plentiful, they were assigned to Beehive No 1 and No 2, both containing numerous honeybees. And Beehive No 3, please take care of the peanut flowers and the rest of the flowers. Beehive No 3, which has fewer bees, was given the responsibility of the peanut field and the rest of the plants. Buzz, buzz. Upon receiving Sejun's instructions, the honeybees flew off to their respective locations. I wonder what kind of honey jelly will come out. Rustle, rustle. While Sejun was thinking about honey jelly and cutting green onion leaves, it was time for dinner. Let's eat. Dinner was CP's carrot soup. Squeaka, squeaka, squeaka. The rabbits were excited about the soup with carrots. After finishing the soup, you have consumed the standard portion of combat rations, CP's carrot soup. Your agility will increase by 7.1 for 30 minutes. You will feel full for 3 hours. His agility had increased. Let's work quickly and rest. These days, to grow the landlord's talent, Sejun and the rabbits have been expanding the field by 1,000 square meter before bedtime. This was exactly the effect they needed. You have created a 1,000 square meter cherry tomato field. You have gained 2,000 experience points. With their increased agility, Sejun and the rabbits finished their work in an hour, made the 1,000 square meter cherry tomato field, and after finishing the day's work fell asleep. Growl. Dawn of day 240 of being stranded. The roar of the mother crimson giant bear woke Sejun up. A branch scout had invaded. All right. Sejun got up energetically, thinking of trying out the newly acquired great warrior Yuka's throwing hand axe. He picked up Theo and the black rabbit in both hands and ran towards where the battle was happening. GRR. Thud thump. Upon Sejun's arrival, Kyungi, who was cutting off the limbs of the large branch scout, greeted Sejun. Did you sleep well, Kyungi? Let's go, guys. Sejun greeted Kyungi and shouted. President Park, you can count me, meow. Shush. Theo, revealing his sharp claws hidden in his front paws, climbed and defeated the bodies of the large branch scouts. Squeaka. Bong, bong, bong. The black rabbit swung its hammer hard, sweeping away the small branch scouts on the ground. Meanwhile, while Theo and the black rabbit were taking action. Thud. You have defeated the corrupted Ent's large branch scout. You have gained 500 experience points. Sejun, who had taken down all the large branch scouts that Kyungi had prepared. Shall I throw it once? When there were no more enemies to defeat, he threw the hand axe powerfully towards the large branch scout approaching from about 50 meters away. Wulong. The axe cut through the air with force and was embedded in the center of the large branch scout's body. Thud. Crack. You attack the knot. Splitting LV. 1 is activated and splitting is successful. You have defeated the corrupted Ent's large branch scout. You have gained 500 experience points. Oh! The large branch scout fell, split in half with 1 attack that hit the knot. Retrieve. Using the retrieval skill, the axe suddenly returned to Sejun's hand. Wulong. Sejun, having gained confidence, attacked another large branch scout again, and Kyungi, watching Sejun fighting from behind, nodded his head. Dad could now do about 1/100 of what he could. In other words, from Kyungi's point of view, Sejun now had 0.01 of combat power. Kruwang. Delighted at Sejun's growth, Kyungi swung his front paw fiercely towards the branch scouts without worrying about his dad. Roar. With a swung filled with Kyungi's sincerity, the enemies within a 10-meter radius in front were cleanly annihilated. Chapter 67. TL Hanguk. Thwack. You have defeated the large branch scout of the corrupted Ent. You have gained 500 experience points. You have leveled up. You have gained 1 bonus stat. Phew, finally it's over. Sejun defeated the last remaining branch scout and leveled up. Status. Sejun increased his magic power with the bonus stat and checked his status for the first time in a while. Park Sejun LV, 25. Right arrow talent, ordinary friend of nature, landlord. Right arrow stats, strength 15-6, stamina 16-1, agility 13, magic 17, 25. Right arrow job, tower farmer C. Right arrow skills, seed sowing LV, 4 harvesting LV, 4 seed shop LV, 2 seed harvesting LV, 2 beekeeping LV, 4 rain thunder LV, 1 cooking LV, 3. Wow! Sejun proudly looked at his status. His talents had increased by 2 and his stats had grown considerably. On top of that, he now had 7 skills. Sejun was overjoyed to have such an impressive status while possessing the lowest tier talent, ordinary. You've grown well, Park Sejun. Just as Sejun was praising himself. Thwack. I also did well, meow. Theo, who had defeated the branch scout, returned to Sejun's lap, appealing for recognition of his contribution. That's right, good job. When Sejun stroked Theo's head. Leap. Wham. This time the black rabbit jumped onto his shoulder, sticking out its buttocks and asking for praise. That's right, Black Rabbit, you've worked hard too. Pad pad. Just as Sejun was praising Theo and the black rabbit. Krung. From far away, Kyungi came running fast. It seemed unfair that only its older brothers were getting praise. Kyungi tried to throw its body at Sejun like its brothers. However, Kyungi, stop. Sejun hurriedly stopped Kyungi's charge in order to survive. Although Kyungi had shrunk its body as it ran, its mass remained the same. The kinetic energy of Kyungi, which is the mass of Kyungi times the square of its speed, was enough to send Sejun to the afterlife. Whimper. When Sejun made it stop, Kyungi started to tear up, looking aggrieved. Daddy's mean. Kyungi also did well. Let's eat honey. Sejun quickly consoled Kyungi before it started to cry. Kring. Kyungi, whose face brightened up at the mention of honey, enlarged its body. And then, hug. It grabbed Sejun's arm, put him on its back, and ran to the brick house. That's because there was honey at Sejun's house. Glug glug. When they arrived home, Sejun poured honey into a wooden bowl made exclusively for Kyungi and gave it to him. Plop. Slurp slurp. Krung. While Kyungi was dipping its front paw in the bowl and licking the honey, saying yummy repeatedly. Easy. Snooze. Snooze. Sejun, Theo, and the black rabbit quickly fell asleep. And then, snooze. After finishing all the honey, Kyungi climbed onto Sejun's chest and fell asleep. That night, Sejun had a nightmare about being buried alive. Wow, we've arrived. Phew, that was tough. I want to eat something right now. Oren and his followers, who hadn't been able to eat anything while climbing up to the 99th floor of the tower, were looking around for food. However, there was nothing around. Let's find the Minotaur King first and sell these items. They can earn money and buy food. Oren shouldered the bag filled with items from outside the tower. It's this way. One of his minions checked the map given by Scarum and led the way. Like that, 9 cats carrying bags entered the territory of the Black Minotaurs. Then, Minotaur 3008, the youngest of the Black Minotaurs, who had been waiting for the cats at the border of their territory as directed by Minotaur King, spotted the cats and sent a signal. What? Sejun, who had had a terrible nightmare, woke up, feeling a dull pain in his right leg. What's this? Sejun looked down as he felt a heavy weight on his right leg. Dangling. Theo was hanging on Sejun's knee, sleeping. Hey, wake up. As Sejun shook his knee to wake Theo up. I'm awake, meow. Theo replied with his eyes closed. For now, Sejun went down to the cave with Theo hanging on his leg. As he descended into the cave. Master, good morning. Flamey, which had grown 3 leaves, cheerfully greeted him in the morning. Right, good morning. Swoosh. Sejun replied and added one more line to the wall, completing 8 Chinese letters in the 5th row, marking the 240th day. The morning of the 240th day began. The 9th blue moon isn't far away. The next blue moon would occur from midnight on the 242nd day. There are less than 40 hours left. However, Sejun was not overly concerned because of Aileen. Sejun had suggested to Aileen, who revealed herself during the blue moon, to have a meal together in his farm. He intended to pay them back in person. However, the tower's administrator says that their energy is so strong that if you see them in person, you might faint or even die. The tower's administrator tells you to get stronger quickly. Aileen, who couldn't leave the tower administrator's area, lied with good intentions, and Sejun completely eliminated his worries about the blue moon with Aileen's words. His current abilities were not so weak as to faint from the roar of the Crimson Giant, Bear Mother, or Minotaur King. But to faint or even die from a roar, Sejun misunderstood that Aileen was overwhelmingly stronger than other monsters. SSA. Sejun filled a wooden water jug and gave it to Flamey. He had been taking extra care of Flamey because he felt sorry for not being able to do so before. Grow big and strong, Flamey. Hehe, master, thank you. Gulp, gulp. In this way, Sejun, who watered Flamey, watched the flame produced by Flamey while eating dried sweet potato for breakfast. And then, lick, lick, lick. Theo closed his eyes and eagerly savored his treats, only moving his tongue. So while Sejun was zoning out, looking at the flames that Flamey was making. Master, you don't look so good. Maybe it's because I didn't sleep well. I feel a little sluggish. Oh, master, I'll make you feel refreshed. Refreshed. One of Flamey's 3 leaves turned white and sent a white flame to Sejun's body. Swoosh. The white flame seeped into Sejun's body without any resistance. The flame of purification seeps in for 3 hours. Purifying flame. The flame of purification burns impurities and improves your body's condition. Rumble. What? Sejun started to burn, surrounded by the white flame, but it didn't hurt or feel hot at all. Instead, the impurities that had accumulated in his body were burning away, making his body feel lighter. Snore. Theo, who had fallen asleep at some point while eating his treat, didn't even notice the flames arising around Sejun's body. Flamey, you're incredible. Flamey, this guy had an amazing ability. Hehe, I'm so happy that I could help you, master. Do you have any other abilities? Yes. One of Flamey's leaves turned yellow, and a yellow flame seeped into Sejun's body. The flame of affinity seeps in for 3 hours. The flame of purification disappears. It seemed that the flames could not be used concurrently. The flame of affinity helps the user control the fire and enhances the power of the fire. Flamey had a different flame ability for each leaf. The first leaf had the purifying flame, which burns impurities. The second leaf had the affinity flame, which helps the user use fire. And the last, third leaf. I'm not sure what the ability of the last leaf is yet. The most recently acquired leaf, Flame, didn't seem to know what its ability was yet. For now, shall we test the flame of affinity? Sejun wanted to try using the flame of affinity, so he decided to go to the western forest, where there were many things to burn. He also thought about burning all the branch scouts so he could sleep soundly at night. So the western forest expedition was formed. The members were Sejun, Theo, Black Rabbit, Kyungi, and their protector, Mother Crimson Giant Bear. Roar! Sejun and the animals, riding on the back of Mother Crimson Giant Bear, arrived at the entrance of the western forest in 30 minutes. Iama! Iama! The black minotaurs surrounded the cats in several layers to prevent them from escaping. We are wandering merchants who have come to sell rare items from outside the tower to Minotaur King. Don't hurt us. Please spare us. Orin and his followers cried out in fear. They knew in their heads that the black minotaurs wouldn't harm the wandering merchants, but with the black minotaurs in front of them, their bodies just started to shudder with fear. It was the natural reaction of the prey in front of the predator. Theo, who boldly caught Wuchen Sam 1003 as a thief and took him to Sejun, was not normal, although he probably wouldn't admit it himself. Yumo! Black minotaurs surrounded the cats and led them to the Minotaur King. Phew, thank goodness. I know, right? I thought we were going to die. Finally, our hard times are over. The cats followed the black minotaurs with relief, thinking their hard times were over, but their true hardship hadn't even begun yet. If they knew that meeting the Minotaur King was just the beginning of their hardship, they might have descended the tower right away. But they weren't that lucky. At the entrance of the western forest, dried branches were spread out like obstacles. Why are there so many branches? As Sejun stepped forward to cut the branches, thud! The Mother Crimson Giant Bear blocked Sejun with her giant paw. Roar, roar! Be careful, it will attack if you get too close. Does that thing move? Roar! Yes. As the Mother Crimson Giant Bear moved her paw close to the branches. Snap! Suddenly, the dried branches moved and started to wrap around the paw of the Mother Crimson Giant Bear. At the same time, a name that was not visible before appeared. Decayed Branch Watchman of the Corrupted End. It can camouflage. The Mother Crimson Giant Bear shook off the branch watchman that had stuck to her paw. In that short period of time, dozens of nearby branch watchmen intertwined their bodies with the fur, forcing the Mother Crimson Giant Bear to rip out her fur along with them. That's annoying. They were not powerful, but they were incredibly annoying monsters. Clink! Sejun struck his dagger and hand axe together, after examining the decayed branch watchman demonstrated by the Mother Crimson Giant Bear. And when the sparks flew, Sejun used his flame control ability from the flame of affinity to amplify the fire. A flame the size of a golf ball was created above Sejun's hand. Burn it! As Sejun threw the flame towards the branch watchman. Whoosh! Fire started to burn the branch watchman vigorously. You have defeated the decayed branch watchman of the corrupted end. You have gained 10 experience points. Go! Sejun controlled the fire to move deeper into the forest. The fire moved little by little towards the west, following Sejun's will. However, the speed of the fire's movement was extremely slow. At this rate, they wouldn't even get a glimpse of the inside of the western forest if they burnt it all day. Then, whoosh! The Mother Crimson Giant Bear understood Sejun's intentions and swung her paw lightly to create wind. Whoosh! With the help of the wind, the fire quickly expanded its influence, devouring the branch watchman. The branch watchman didn't react to the fire and just burned to death. Thanks to that, A massive fire completely covered the outskirts of the western forest, and Sejun leveled up twice. And as he chose magic power as the bonus stat, controlling the fire became easier. It was an extremely comfortable hunt where he didn't have to lift a finger. Roar, squeak, grrr. Soon Theo, Black Rabbit, and Kyungi, who came with them, were comfortably sleeping on the back of the mother crimson giant bear. After a while since they started burning the western forest. HSSSS. Fog began to spread from within the western forest. FSSSSH. The fire, upon encountering the fog, quickly lost its strength and went out. It seemed it was not ordinary fog. Then, the flame of affinity is disappearing. The flame of affinity that he received from the flaming disappeared after 3 hours. Guys, let's get out of here. Sejun climbed on the back of the mother crimson giant bear and boldly fled. TL note. Term chain. Mediocre all-rounder used in Chapter 6, Ordinary. Chapter 68. TL Hanguk. The cats arrived in front of the Minotaur King, who was guarding the waypoint. Greetings. My name is Oren, a wandering merchant who came to sell precious items to the Minotaur King. Tremble, tremble, tremble. Despite his trembling legs, Oren finished his speech. Impressive, Mr. Oren. The other cats admired Oren, who had taken out Earth's items from his bag. Items like a lint roller, tumbler, pocket tissues, etc. were displayed. Items that the Minotaur King didn't need at all. He could have just sent them away, but thanks to Sejun's request, the Minotaur King continued the conversation. What's that? Ah, this is called a lint roller. It's imbued with adhesive magic on it so it can remove dust and fur. And the price? The price, it's 50 tower coins. Oren called a price almost 10 times what he had paid. The Minotaur King, who had asked about a few more items. I want to verify if the items you are selling are truly valuable. Minotaur 3000, take these cats to an expert. Minotaur 3000 obeyed the Minotaur King's order and led the cats away. When Sejun came back after setting fire to the western forest. Buzz, buzz. A single poisonous honeybee landed on Sejun's hand. In its grip was a transparent square jelly with a yellowish glow. Its size was about the same as a caramel from the outside tower. Is this the honey jelly? Buzz, buzz. Yes, it's honey jelly made from cherry tomatoes. Plub. The poisonous honeybee placed the honey jelly on Sejun's palm in response to his question. You have obtained 1 poisonous honeybee's cherry tomato honey jelly. Your proficiency in beekeeping LV4 has increased slightly. The texture was soft and squishy. Let's take a look. Sejun examined the honey jelly. Poisonous honeybees, cherry tomato honey jelly. Right arrow, it's a special blend of the pollen and honey from cherry tomatoes that have grown in the tower, absorbing lots of nutrients. The poisonous honeybees have processed it with their unique method, enhancing its aroma and taste. Right arrow, the honey has been concentrated to maximize sweetness. Right arrow, upon consumption, it slightly enhances your magic-related talent. Right arrow cultivator, Tower Farmer Park Sejun. Right arrow expiration date, 1 year. Right arrow grade C. Incredible. It's difficult to awaken a talent, but enhancing a talent is another realm. Many hunters strive to enhance their talents. This is because as talents are enhanced, they can grow into higher grade talents. However, the number of hunters who can enhance their talent is really few. That's because it requires intense, bone-grinding effort. But just eating this will enhance magic-related talent. As Sejun was startled by the option of the honey jelly, at that moment, someone was even more astonished than Sejun. Krung Trung. Kyungi, intoxicated by the sweet scent of honey jelly that he had never smelled before in his life, clung to Sejun. Dad, give me. Kyungi, sit down. Sejun said firmly, calming down the excited Kyungi. Krung. At Sejun's words, Kyungi hurriedly sat in front of Sejun and stretched out his hands. Give me that. However, Squeak, the black rabbit, also wanted to eat the honey jelly and urged Sejun not to forget him. I want to eat it too. Just when Sejun was contemplating what to do with the honey jelly. Buzz, buzz. Fortunately, dozens of poisonous honey bees started to fly over, each carrying a piece of honey jelly. The honey jelly in Sejun's palm seemed to be the first one made. You have obtained one poisonous honey bee's cherry tomato honey jelly. Your proficiency in beekeeping LV4 has increased slightly. Dozens of honey jellies piled up in Sejun's hand. Crewy young. Kyungi roared again, asking for honey jelly. I'll give one to each of you guys first. Sejun, with a handful of honey jellies, divided one each to Theo, the black rabbit, and Kyungi in order. However, that's not a fish, meow. I won't eat it, meow. Theo, a fish lover, refused the honey jelly as expected. Thanks to that, Kyungi was able to eat one more honey jelly, and Kyungi's magic-related talent grew. And Sejun's combat power fell below 1/100th of Kyungi. Guys, come over and try one each. Sejun called over the other rabbits and let them each try a piece of honey jelly. Yum! Sejun also put a piece of honey jelly into his mouth and chewed. The initial sensation was definitely that of jelly. Munch, munch. As he chewed, the honey jelly melted in his saliva, filling his mouth with the rich aroma and taste of honey. Oh! Sejun, who had been experiencing the aftertaste of the honey jelly that had disappeared like cotton candy, came to his senses and exclaimed. Since Sejun had no magic-related talent, there was no talent enhancement. Aileen. Sejun looked at the remaining 10 pieces of honey jelly in his hand and called Aileen. He thought Aileen, who loves cherry tomatoes, would also like this. Aileen. But there was no answer. Asleep. Sejun put the remaining honey jelly in Theo's bag for the time being, did some work, and then had lunch. And just when he was about to take a break, Aileen Pratani, administrator of the tower, is dying due to Dragonheart's rampage. What? A quest of the Black Tower has been activated. Black Tower quest, calm Aileen Pratani's Dragonheart rampage. Reward, Aileen Pratani regains consciousness. Failure, Aileen Pratani dies due to Dragonheart rampage. Hehe, burn it all, human. Aileen watched Sejun as usual through the crystal orb. As Sejun, who gained the ability to control fire from Apple Tree, set fire to the western forest and leveled up, Aileen was excited. Hehe, human gets stronger quickly. While cheering on Sejun enthusiastically, Aileen drank the cherry tomato soup Sejun had given her when her throat became parched. Thump bang, thump bang. Her Dragonheart began to beat strongly as her magic power increased. Hashtag good. Aileen was happy feeling her Dragonheart beat strongly when suddenly, Aileen clutched her chest and collapsed. Thump bang. Suddenly, the mana within the Dragonheart began to run uncontrollably. It was a mana rampage. Par Sejun, help. Aileen called out to Sejun and lost consciousness. And then, the tower administrator's life is in danger. The emergency system of the Black Tower is activated. The emergency system of the Black Tower is analyzing the condition of the tower administrator's body. The emergency system of the Black Tower is requesting help from the last entity the tower administrator called out to. Choose an item to help tower administrator Aileen Pratani. But why did Aileen's Dragonheart go berserk? Sejun, who didn't know what to do to help, asked urgently. Tower administrator Aileen Pratani's Dragonheart rampaged because of their talent, Hardened Dragonheart, which absorbed more mana than it could handle. Hardened Dragonheart. Talent absorbed more mana than it could handle. So if I enhance their talent, it should be fine, right? Sejun happened to have such an item. Yes, that would be the best solution. Sejun, who was planning to give Aileen some honey jelly, smiled. It was a good thing he saved it. It was really lucky. Theo, take out the honey jelly. Got it, meow. In the meantime, The poisonous honey bees had brought more honey jelly, so there were 12 pieces. Feed this to Aileen. Understood. The honey jelly in Sejun's hand disappeared. Tower's administrator, Aileen Pratani, has been provided with 12 pieces of poisonous honeybees, cherry, tomato honey jelly. How is it? Please wait a moment, waiting for a reaction. What? Poisonous honeybees, cherry, tomato honey jelly is successfully enhancing Tower administrator Aileen Pratani's talent. Hardened Dragon Heart. Talent, Hardened Dragon Heart has been slightly enhanced, and the rampage of the Dragon Heart has stopped. So Aileen is okay now. Yes, for the time being, there should be no rampage of Tower Administrator Aileen Pratani's Dragon Heart. For the time being. Yes, although it is stable now, there is a risk of another rampage if Tower Administrator Aileen Pratani's talent does not grow. A few seconds later, a message appeared that the quest was completed. Phew. Sejun looked at the message and breathed a sigh of relief. Gurgle. Mr. Minotaur 3000, how long do we have to keep going? Orin asked Minotaur 3000 at the sound of his stomach rumbling. They had been walking for several hours, without having eaten for days. However, Minotaur 3000 did not answer and continued to walk. Minotaur 3000's task was to keep the cats walking until they were exhausted. After about 3 hours of walking, a signal came from a colleague in the distance. Moo. We're going to eat first. Food. The cats were excited by the mention of food. But, where is this? Minotaur 3000 took the cats to a land full of mud. The cats paused in front of the muddy ground, not wanting to dirty their paws. Then, sniff, sniff. Do you smell grilled fish? You too. The cats got excited by the smell of grilled fish. Moo. Minotaur 3000 pushed the cats into the mud field and said, we can eat at a restaurant. In response to the cats' question, Minotaur 3000 silently pointed to a place. There was a restaurant at the end of the mud field on the opposite side, and the smell of grilled fish was coming from the restaurant. It's grilled fish. The cats rushed to the restaurant. Inside the restaurant, gray rabbits were grilling fish. 5 grilled fishes, please. I'll have 10. As the cats hastily ordered grilled fish. Squeak. The biggest gray rabbit stretched out its paw. You want payment in advance. At the rabbit's words, the cats were taken aback. The price for a grilled fish was 0.05 tower coin, but they were penniless beggars. Then, flick. The gray rabbit presented a contract. You're letting us eat on credit, thank you. When the cats stamped their paws on the contract, promising to pay back later. Squeak. 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 The gray rabbits busily grilled piranhas and served them to the cats. Although there was a condition that if they didn't pay back within 3 days, they had to make 1,000 mud bricks for each grilled fish. They could afford to pay back just by selling what they had, so they ate the grilled fish heartily without any burden. And if all else failed, they thought they would just have to make 1,000 mud bricks. The fact that the size of the mud bricks was based on the size of a black minotaur was a secret. A while later. I'm so full. I'm full. The cats lay down with happy expressions from feasting after a long time. The cats, drowsy with fatigue, fell asleep. Why isn't the tower opening yet? Kaiser Pratani, who wanted to see his lovely granddaughter, looked at the portal in annoyance. Lord, calm down. Isn't it a sign that Aileen's life is not in danger? That's true. Kaiser had set up a system to request help from the last entity Aileen calls when her life is in danger. And Aileen always called me, haha. Before losing consciousness, Aileen always called Kaiser, and when the portal was activated, Kaiser would go first, call other dragons to heal Aileen, and then return. Aileen, hurry up, call your grandpa. Kaiser, unaware that Aileen had called Sejun as she collapsed, looked at the inactive portal and wished that Aileen would call him. Then, transmitting the activity record of the Black Tower's emergency system. What? The fact that the Black Tower's emergency system was activated meant that Aileen had a seizure. Kaiser hurriedly checked the activity record of the emergency system. That's a relief. There had been a rampage, but fortunately, the state of Aileen's dragon heart was much better than before. However, roar, who is Park Sejun, who is he? Kaiser roared in anger at the fact that Aileen had called someone else instead of him. He. Sejun shivered at the sudden chilly sensation. Master, are you cold? Yep. Flamey quickly created flames around Sejun to warm him up, and the chilly feeling quickly subsided. Chapter 69, Being Hated. TL Hanguk. Aileen, who had fallen to the ground due to the Dragonheart rampage, opened her eyes. Am I still alive? Aileen moved her arms, legs, and wings to check her condition. Her body was fine. What about the Dragonheart? Aileen, who had just started to recover from her Dragonheart condition, focused on its beat with a nervous heart. Thump thump. The heartbeat of the Dragonheart felt rhythmic. The heartbeat of the Dragonheart was better than expected. It was much better than before it went berserk. How did this happen? Aileen checked the messages through the crystal orb to find out what had happened when she had passed out. Then, seeing the message tower farmer Park Sejun has completed the quest, Aileen remembered that she had lost consciousness calling out Sejun's name at the end. It's a bit embarrassing. Aileen, even though she was not feeling hot, fluttered her wings and arms for no reason and checked the messages. It seems like the remarkable human saved me after all. Aileen felt happy thinking that Sejun had saved her. She felt sorry for her grandfather, but she was glad Sejun had saved her. He. She couldn't help but laugh. But what is honey jelly? Aileen tried to remember the taste of honey jelly, but I ate it when I fainted, so I don't know what it tastes like. Aileen decided to get honey jelly from Sejun later to check its taste. No. But soon she thought that she shouldn't do that. As a great black dragon, I owe him my life, and am trying to get honey jelly as well. It was not something a great black dragon would do to get something else without paying off the life debt. Then I'll just repay him. Bang! Pratani Collection Warehouse open. Aileen kicked open the door of the collection warehouse and started looking for a gift for Sejun, examining the items collected by her ancestors. But Apopes the magic sword, Gibog, Excalibur the holy sword. It's disappointing. There's nothing Sejun can use. There was no item that Sejun could use with his level, and stats among the items on display in the collection warehouse. Then, a thing came to Aileen's mind. Wait for me, Sejun. Aileen, who came out of the collection warehouse, ran to the garden of the tower administrator's area. Sejun, who had prevented Aileen's Dragonheart rampage, was eating dinner after finishing the harvest of cherry tomatoes when the tower's administrator thanks you for saving their life. Aileen woke up. Aileen, are you okay? The tower's administrator says they are better thanks to you. That's a relief. Eat this. It'll help Aileen. Sejun handed over 3 honey jellies. Originally, there were 5, but he gave 1 each to the Mother Crimson Giant Bear and Kyungi. The tower's administrator says it's too shameful to keep receiving things. Shameful? What about till now? The tower's administrator says they will at least repay the life debt. A quest has been generated. Quest, shout Aileen loudly to the sky. Reward, something very big and good. Refusal, refusal is rejected. Something very big and good, what could that be? While Sejun was reading the reward and wondering. Hut, I know what that very big and good thing is, meow. Theo, who was enjoying churu from Sejun's lap, shouted. What is it? Hut, President Park still doesn't know the world of adults, meow. Theo got down from Sejun's lap. Hey! Sejun quickly tried to stop Theo, sensing a crisis that he might see something unpleasant, but this is it, meow. Theo quickly pulled it out before Sejun could stop him. Huh, is that the world of adults? Yes, meow. Only adults can eat such big fish, meow. Theo proudly shouted while lifting a giant fish from a box on the floor with both hands. It was a yellowtail fish that appeared a few times outside the pond these days. Theo, have you ever been in a relationship? Why are you suddenly asking that, meow? Meow, Oren, you rascal, I'll get my revenge, meow. Thump, thump, thump. Theo, reminded of his humiliating past where he was tricked by Oren into confessing his feelings to Meryl because of Sejun's relationship question, began throwing a tantrum. I shouldn't have asked, I'm sorry. Oren, you bastard, I'll discipline you, meow. Thump, thump, thump. While Theo was taking out his anger on the ground. Aileen. Sejun shouted Aileen's name loudly towards the sky. You have completed the quest. You have obtained a very big and good Aileen's 100th birthday commemorative fountain as a quest completion reward. Aileen's 100th birthday commemorative fountain. Thud. A huge vibration echoed as a large fountain was erected next to Sejun's brick house. At a glance, it was a circular tank with a diameter of 100 m, made of high-quality black stone. And in the middle of the tank, there was a statue of a black dragon adorned with glittering red gems for eyes. The black dragon statue roared with its mouth open in a dynamic posture, as if it would move alive at any moment. As Sejun was looking at the statue, flash, the eyes of the black dragon statue lit up and swoosh. Water streamed out from the mouth of the black dragon statue, making a beautiful rainbow. Then, slowly, the black dragon statue began to rotate 360 degrees slowly. Well, Sejun exclaimed, approaching the fountain to take a closer look. Aileen's 100th birthday commemorative fountain. Right arrow, this is a fountain that the great black dragon Kaiser Pratani ordered the dwarves to make in commemoration of Aileen Pratani's 100th birthday. Right arrow, all materials used are of high quality, made solely from black marble, and the black dragon statue was made by the dwarfs modeling after the appearance of the great black dragon Kaiser Pratani, the orderer. Right arrow, the eyes of the black dragon statue used magic stones that the great black dragon Anton Pratani personally engraved magic on. Right arrow, the fountain can create water itself, or draw water from a source within a 10 km radius. Right arrow, the intensity, direction, and distance of the water spewing out can be freely adjusted. Right arrow orderer, the great black dragon Kaiser Pratani. Right arrow creator, dwarf king and his subordinates. Right arrow grade, S. Right arrow skills, water production LV, 50. There's no usage restrictions. The tower's administrator says that since it's an installation type item, there is no usage restrictions. An installation type item. Sejun had only heard about such items. The tower's administrator says that now you can reduce the time spent on watering. Aileen, but why are the other skills question marks? The tower's administrator says it's because their grandfather did not provide that information. So how do I control the water? The tower's administrator says that if you touch anywhere on the fountain, a control screen appears for water adjustment. Like this. When Sejun touched the wall of the fountain basin, the control screen appeared. I don't like it. The more Kaiser thought about Sejun, the more uneasy he felt. It was because his opportunity to see his granddaughter, which only came once every 10 years, had disappeared because of this guy named Park Sejun. Father, calm down. Thanks to this human named Park Sejun, Aileen's condition improved, didn't it? Anton Pratani, Aileen's father, smiled and said to Kaiser. Anton was greatly hopeful after viewing the emergency system's activity records. It was the first time Aileen's dragon heart improved rather than deteriorated after its rampage. However, it's also annoying, really annoying. Kaiser did not like the fact that Aileen's dragon heart, which had shown no improvement even when he intervened, had improved with Sejun's help. He wanted to resent him, but he owed him. Yet he didn't like that either. Like a pendulum, Kaiser's heart swung between gratitude and resentment. I still need to give him a reward. As Kaiser was contemplating what to give Sejun as a reward for saving Aileen, the location of the Aileen's 100th birthday fountain will be changed. The Aileen's 100th birthday fountain will be installed on the 99th floor of the tower. What? The 99th floor of the tower? The Aileen's 100th birthday fountain was painstakingly built by Kaiser for his granddaughter, who was alone in the tower, but to install it on the 99th floor of the tower. Activate the video transmission system. Activating the video transmission system of Aileen's 100th birthday fountain. When Kaiser used the hidden skill, video transmission, to find out what was going on, the black dragon statue began to rotate 360 degrees, capturing and transmitting the surrounding video. The video showed many monsters such as cats, rabbits, crimson giant bears, and black minotaurs, and between them was one human. Kaiser felt like he knew who that human was as soon as he saw him. Argue Park Sejun. Kaiser's pendulum swung towards resentment once again, and he became angry at Sejun, who had monopolized his granddaughter's attention. Aileen, this guy. Is he really that great? Great enough to give him the gift I gave? Black dragon statue, show him what you're capable of. With Kaiser's outcry, the gaze of the black dragon statue turned towards Sejun. Ah, so this is how you do it. As Sejun was watering the fields after learning how to control the fountain. Thump. Boom. The black dragon statue suddenly changed its direction and started shooting water cannons at Sejun. Why is this happening all of a sudden? Sejun was taken aback by the sudden water baptism. Although it wasn't painful, he couldn't understand why it was happening. I hate water, meow. President Park, dodge it quickly, meow. Theo, who was hanging on Sejun's knee and also got a water baptism, shouted at Sejun. Even while getting wet, he didn't seem to want to let go of Sejun's knee. I will stay with Park Sejun's knee till the end of the world, meow. Boom, boom. Sejun ran away to avoid the water cannons for now. Fortunately, the water cannon fired about 20 times and then stopped. Phew, what was that? Sejun used the fountain again to water the fields and went to bed. And in the early morning, thump thump, the tree branch scouts invaded again. It seemed that setting fire to the western forest had an effect as some of the tree branch scouts were charred black. Unfortunately, he couldn't receive the flame buff from Flamey. Flamey's leaves, which used the flame of purification and the flame of affinity, had turned white and yellow. Flamey said that the leaves need to turn green again to use the flame buff again. Let's go, guys. I'll slaughter them, meow. Squeak. Kayung. Sejun and the animals ran out to defeat the tree branch scouts. However, roar. The battle ended as soon as the mother crimson giant bear roared at the enemies. With just one roar from the mother crimson giant bear, the tree branch scouts turned into dust. The mother crimson giant bear, whose talents were enhanced after eating a honey jelly, had her talent of mana roar, which was close to its growth limit, evolved into a powerful mana roar. Well, let's go back to sleep. Let's do that, meow. Squeak. Kayung. The four who could not make a move trudged back into the house. And roar. The mother crimson giant bear lay back down, scratching her head, wondering if she had killed the enemies too quickly. And Sejun, who didn't have to fight in the morning, woke up early for the first time in a while. All right, Aileen, tonight's going to be fine, right? The tower's administrator tells you to trust them. On the 241st day of being stranded, Sejun's 9th blue moon was approaching. Chapter 70. TL Hanguk. As midnight approached, everyone to your posts. Squeak. 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 At Sejun's command, the rabbits scattered throughout the field. This was because the field had grown too large for Sejun to check the crops imbued with the energy of the blue moon alone. Shortly after, roar. As the blue moon rose, The mother crimson giant bear was the first to be affected and began to get excited. Aileen, as Sejun hurriedly called for Aileen. The tower's administrator says confidently that you trust them. With Aileen's message, a black dragon appeared in the sky. And then, roar! The roar of the black dragon echoed, and the monsters on the 99th floor of the tower came to their senses. The moon is pretty. Today, there was no need to worry about monsters or the location of crops imbued with the energy of the blue moon. So for the first time since he'd been stranded, Sejun was able to enjoy the leisure of watching the blue moon in the sky and the black dragon Aileen flying. Glup glup. He even had the luxury of drinking coffee. Stroke me more, meow. Theo was annoying, constantly asking for attention while on his lap. However, thanks to Theo's warmth and soft fur, he didn't mind it. After a while, rustle. The crops began to be imbued with the energy of the blue moon. And then, squeak-a, squeak-a. The rabbits pointed at the crops that had turned blue and called for Sejun. All right, let's start harvesting. Sejun, guided by the rabbits, harvested the crops imbued with the energy of the blue moon. And as he went down to the cave to harvest, Master, I've grown. Flamey had grown up to Sejun's waist by absorbing the energy of the blue moon. Furthermore, the leaves of Flamey, which had turned to white and yellow by using the flames of purification and affinity, had absorbed the energy of the blue moon and turned half green. What happened? When I received the energy of the blue moon, I felt my strength growing. The energy of the blue moon caused Flamey to grow and shortened the cooldown time of Flamey's flame buff. Ah, Master, I found out the ability of the third leaf. Oh really? What's the ability? Wait a moment, ta-da. The last leaf that was still green turned blue, and the blue flame seeped into Sejun's body. The flame of protection seeps in for 3 hours. The flame of protection protects the target. A small blue flame floated around Sejun like a will-o'-the-wisp. Is this the flame of protection? Sejun touched the blue flame, but it wasn't hot. Yes, the flame of protection will protect you, Master. All right, thanks. Sejun praised Flamey while petting its leaves. Haha, it feels good. After receiving the flame of protection buff from Flamey, Sejun continued harvesting the remaining crops imbued with the energy of the blue moon. As a result, he was able to harvest 52 magical cherry tomatoes and 2 stamina corns from the cornfield that was ready for harvest. The harvested magical cherry tomatoes were shared and eaten with the animals, and Sejun took all the corns as he was low on stamina. Aileen, take the corn. Sejun gave one of the 2 corns to Aileen, who could not eat the crops that increased her magic power for a while for the sake of stabilizing the dragon heart. The tower's administrator is moved by your thoughtfulness to remember and take care of them. After sharing the harvested crops, I should eat too. Sejun ate the last remaining 10 magical cherry tomatoes imbued with Blue Moon's energy and 1 corn imbued with Blue Moon's energy. As a result, his magic power increased by 3 and his stamina by 0.3. The blue moon has ended. Before they knew it, the blue moonlight had disappeared and the sunlight was shining again on the ground. Thanks to Aileen, they safely got through the 9th blue moon. Aileen, thank you. The tower's administrator says that all you have to do is trust them. There was still some time left until morning, so everyone took a short nap. And, whoosh. What the heck, meow? The protective blue flame aggressively attacked Theo, who jumped happily onto Sejun's stomach. It was the flame of protection. Meow. Swoosh. The flame of protection would attack whenever someone tried to get close to Sejun. How dare you try to steal Sejun's lap, meow? Theo was furious at the appearance of a new competitor for Sejun's lap. Meow. Whoosh. The standoff between Theo and the flame of protection continued. However, whoosh. As time passed, the buff time of the protective flame ended and the blue flame began to fade. Phew hut, it's my victory, meow. Theo, lifting his chin and tail high, celebrated his victory and stepped on Sejun's lap. He then climbed up to Sejun's chest. Then, tab tab. Theo gently hit Sejun's cheek with his front paw a few times. Phew Hugh Hut, President Park, it's revenge, meow. It was Theo's timid revenge. Having taken his revenge, Theo settled back down on Sejun's stomach and fell asleep. Grrrr. Fortunately, no tree branch scouts disturbed their sleep until morning. All right. After sleeping for 4 hours, Sejun got up and started his day. President Theo, get off me. You're making me sweaty. I don't want to, meow. Sejun, who was harvesting tomatoes, said in annoyance. For some reason, Theo's obsession with his lap was more intense today. He used to move around from time to time, but today he clung to Sejun's lap for hours without letting go. Sai then moved to the left knee. Okay, meow. When Sejun sighed and proposed a compromise, Theo finally moved to the opposite knee. As Sejun was harvesting tomatoes while carrying Theo. Mr. Sejun, we're here. Elka arrived with 5 wagons full of red locust corpses, accompanied by 9 wolves. Elka had been helping with transportation, going back and forth between the 67th floor of the tower with other wolves, until Theo left for trade. You've worked hard, let's eat first. Kyungi, bring the carts to the front of the house. Kruwang. At Sejun's command, Kyungi increased its size and carried 2 carts in each hand to the front of the house. Then Sejun scooped out some soup from the 24-hour soup kitchen and served it to the wolves. Thank you, Sejun, we will enjoy the meal. While the wolves were having their meal. How's the 67th floor of the tower lately? Sejun asked about the situation on the 67th floor of the tower. Well, lately, the red locusts have changed their movement patterns, causing the lizard men and the free mercenaries to struggle. The red locusts had been deploying many more troops than before, as most of their kind had been killed by sturdy blade onion leaves before they could even fight. And the red locusts covered the sturdy blade onion leaves with their own corpses. It was a mass battle tactic that the red locusts specialized in. This made the red locusts unbothered by the sturdy blade onion leaves, and the allied forces of the 67th floor of the tower had to fight a tough battle again. Due to this, the demand for sturdy blade onion leaves increased, and recently, the wolves were bringing in red locust corpses in carts in the morning and evening, and taking away sturdy blade onion leaves and sea peas soup, creating a cycle. Here's the money for selling the sturdy blade onion leaves and sea peas soup. Elka handed Sejun the money. Even when Theo was not trading, Sejun's account balance was increasing thanks to the wolves. Not having a place to spend the money was the problem, though. You guys aren't in danger, are you? You don't need to worry. So far, the red locusts haven't invaded near the waypoint. That's a relief. Do you want to have another bowl? Yes, thank you. At Sejun's question, the wolves happily wagged their tails and replied. Then, we'll head back down now. All right, take care. After eating another bowl of soup, the wolves loaded sturdy blade onion leaves and sea peas soup into the carts and went back down to the 67th floor of the tower. President Theo moved to the other side. Okay, meow. After seeing off the wolves, Sejun moved Theo to the other knee and went to find Wuchen Sam, 1003. He had initially planned to make the Orin and his followers work a little more, but his mind changed. The mud field of the 99th floor of the tower. Mu tilde. Mu tilde. Thousands of black minotaurs were happily singing and scooping mud into brick molds measuring 2 m wide, 1 m long, and 1 m high to make mud bricks. They were excited because if they made just 10 of these and brought them to Sejun, they could eat a pile of tasty green onion leaves instead of tasteless mud. These huge mud bricks had been in production for a few days now, meant to build a wall to defend against the attacks of the corrupted Ents. Then, Alorg. Bathi. A little further away from the black minotaurs, Orin and his followers were busily scooping mud into brick molds. Their once clean fur was now covered in mud, making them look like beggars. It took all of them sticking together to barely make 10 mud bricks a day, so they didn't even have time to groom themselves. How did I end up making bricks? Oren whimpered in misery. When they woke up from their sleep, after eating grilled fish sold by the gray rabbits to their heart's content. What? Suddenly, the gray rabbits had disappeared, and instead, terrifying black minotaurs started approaching them, giving them orders to work. Thus, the 10 cats became slaves at a mud brick factory. We will go home and bring money. Please let us go. Oren and the cats appealed to the black minotaurs. Mutilda. But they just responded that it wasn't within their power. As the cats were barely surviving, making mud bricks on the 3rd day. Mutilda. What? An expert who can appraise items has arrived. The cats were thrilled at the thought of escaping this mud brick labor. And then Sejun appeared before them. First, bring out the items. Sejun stepped forward and spoke. Yes. Truthfully, there was nothing worth looking at, but it was a step to torment them with hope again. Trembling, the cats brought out the items from their bags. All these items are trash. What? At Sejun's casual words, the cats despaired. They're all worthless. You probably heard they were magic items, didn't you? You've been scammed. PFFFT, how is it, meow? Do you like the sharp tongue of Sejun? Start wailing. Theo, who was hanging on Sejun's back and overhearing the conversation, shivered with the pleasure of revenge. And then, sniff, sniff. As Theo expected, the cats began to cry. But the revenge was just beginning. You guys probably know this, but according to the contract you signed, you have to make 100,000 mud bricks to pay for the grilled fish. But think about it, how many bricks can you make in a day? 10 bricks. Oren weakly replied. That's right. So, it will take you at least 10,000 days to make 100,000 bricks. But can you just work without eating anything during that time? No. That's right. So, your debt will increase and you'll have to make even more bricks. You'll probably have to keep making bricks here until you die. The cats' faces turned pale. If what Sejun said was true, their lives were over here. But I'll give you an opportunity. Sejun held out 8 new contracts. An opportunity. For 10,000 days, you will work as interns in our farm's distribution department and repay your debt. The cats carefully examined the contract. The content was okay. For 10,000 days, they would transport goods as porters and even get 1 grilled fish every day. We'll do it. Afraid that this good opportunity would disappear, the cats quickly stamped their paw prints. What about me? Oren, who had not received a contract, called Sejun in desperation, fearing that he might be left alone. Here. Sejun offered Oren a contract. There was an additional clause in Oren's contract. The representative of the distribution department has the right to take 3 items of his choice from Oren's home. Sejun added this clause, trusting Theo's golden paw, knowing that Oren's house was rich. Here you go. Oren stamped his paw print on the contract and handed it to Sejun. There were plenty of expensive items in his home. There would be no significant decrease in his family's wealth just because he gave away 3 items. If Sejun had asked for a large sum of money, he might have hesitated. As the cats stamped their paw prints and handed over the contracts to Sejun. Interns, welcome, meow. I'm Theo, the representative of the distribution department, meow. Theo climbed onto Sejun's shoulder, crossed his arms and said arrogantly, You're Theo. Oren, surprised to see Theo, pointed at him with his front paw. In turn, don't you know how to behave in front of the representative, meow? Whack, whack, whack. Theo hit Oren with his front paw, getting angry. Interns, follow me, meow. We have a lot of work to do, meow. Theo's exciting revenge had begun, and Sejun was able to escape from his drooping knees.